Untuk
Ah,
kualitatif kita perlu ada framework kan. So,
untuk kualitatif tak ada framework.
tak ada framework.
Dia tak ada conceptual framework. Conceptual framework nanti datang selepas kita dapat data, kita analyse data, baru kita keluarkan framework tu. Conceptual tu. Dia panggil konsep. Konsep map dia. Nanti kita akan belajar lah in the next class how we do the content analysis. Okay?
Okay.
Boleh eh?
Boleh tak?
Okay. Now we're looking at chapter 3, chapter 3, qualitative or quantitative. Saya masukkan sekali quantitative sini so that kita boleh bedakan what is quanti, what is quali when we look at our own proposal nanti. Now, for qualitative research is suitable for developing an understanding of something. Ingat, developing an understanding of something, looking for range of ideas. Kita nak tahu. We want to know what are the factors. We want to know what are the problems. We want to know what are the challenges from different perspective. Lepas tu, understanding different perspective between individuals or group. We want to know all the variations perbezaan as much as possible. So we are not worried about the numbers, but we are more worried about the different perspective too. How many people having the same perspective too is not a concern of qualitative. That is a concern of quantitative. Misal kata ada 10 orang, we are going to study 10 people. Then if the most beautiful will be all the 10 different people with different perspective, that will give us a different spectrum of the subject matter. We don't care if 5% have same perspective, 4 or 3 or 2 have different perspective. We don't care about that. All we care is to find out as many differences as possible. Misal kata, if we were looking for factors that affect student performance, so of course, there are means to calculate how many say this, how many say that, but qualitative research is not about that. Qualitative research is more about trying to find out what are the different factors from the different people, different walk of life. For maybe different people from different ethnicity, people from different background. You want to hear from them. They in terms of different in terms of age group as well. So, or maybe different in terms of where they came from the city or from the kampong or from different states. Now, the difference in terms of their idea, their opinion, their perception, and that's important. And then qualitative is also good for uncovering underlying factors or reason behind an issue. For example, maybe kalau kata kita guna, if we are using the quantitative study, we find out that mostly people are not happy, not happy with the counter services of certain organization, let's say. People are generally not happy with the counter services. Out of 10, 0 to 10, maybe the counter services only, satisfaction level is only around 5 or 6. But that's it. For a quantitative study, that's it. That's all they managed to get. Now, what a qualitative study can do is to find out why people are not happy. What are the various reasons why people are not happy? This is where qualitative can come in. Will come in with the explanation why people are not happy, right? And then also providing information needed to design quantitative study. Now, if there is no instrument for quantitative yet, then we can use the qualitative method to develop that instrument. For example, if you want to measure, if you want to do a study to find out the factors, the most dominant factors that affect student performance, well, you need to develop that questionnaire first. And how do you develop that questionnaire? That is where you use qualitative study first. Use qualitative studies first to find out what are the different factors that affect the student performance. From those factors that you acquire from a qualitative study, then you can put it in the form of instrument and then try to quantify it. And that is how you use the qualitative study to design a quantitative instrument. And lastly is explaining finding from a quantitative study, like what I said just now, like explaining finding. Okay, any question on this here, on this explanation here? Faham nggak? So, and another thing is that qualitative is about words, using words to explain something. But quantitative, on the other hand, is using numbers. Quantitative is using numbers and qualitative is using words. Qualitative, we are not interested in how many say this, how many say that. We're not interested. We are not doing anything like confirmatory. We want to confirm how many people say this or many people say that. No, we don't want to do that. Because you know why? We have only very limited number of participants. Out of 1,000 participants, we only interview 8 to 10 persons. So therefore, we have no right to quantify. Not like quantitative on the other side. Quantitative with a 1,000 participant, maybe you have to do a 500 sample. Then you can generalize your finding to the given population. You can say that this finding from this quantitative study can be inferred to the populations of students in UNIMAS because we are using enough sample. But for qualitative, we have no right to do that. Because why we only use maybe 8 informant only from 1,000 participants, 1,000 students. So we have no right to say that. The most we can say, right, these are the different answers provided by the student. But to quantify this one, you have to do a separate study using quantitative means. Because the idea of qualitative is just description, exploratory, and trying to find out what are the different perceptions of the students pertaining a subject matter. Nah, faham Faham. Boleh faham So kalau kata you punya objektif tu ada berbunyi nak cari, oh ada tak relationship between this one and this one. Benda macam tu semua tak ada. Dia orang shouldn't be in qualitative punya objektif. Because we are not looking for significant differences, relation between this variable A and variable B. These are all shouldn't be in a qualitative study. But shouldn't be in the objective, in the preliminary objective. But later on, when you do your analysis, there might be possibility that you find out there might be possibility a relationship between one factor to another factor, maybe in the finding later on, but that can be reported later on. But in your objective, you don't have to do that. Okay, ada soalan? Any question now? You need to interact with me, because otherwise I feel like, oh, you should understand already, but actually you don't understand.
Prof, I have a question, Audrey here.
Already, yeah.
Yeah, regarding my title, which I brought up the other day, regarding the impacts of the use of technology on the students. Now that you say that we do not want to have them like categorized yet because it's qualitative, but
Yeah.
I told you that I wanted to see the impacts on different types of student, the good ones and the poorer ones. Is that okay?
That's okay. I mean, all you want to find out is what is the impact for each of the student, right? That's okay. But we don't try
Different
to,
performing kind.
because at the end of research, what you cannot do is you cannot say that, oh, these are the impact on the student. We dare to say that, but actually we are only doing qualitative. We cannot claim like that. We can say that from our research, we find out these are possible. You see the word used? Possible impact.
So it's still okay that I segregate them into subgroups lah.
Boleh. But the way reporting later on, we have to be very careful. We cannot be so confirming that, okay, this is the impact on all the student. No, some of the student maybe. Those are the only words that we can use. So if you try to publish it in any journal also, they are very careful, the reviewer. Yeah, they want to see that, okay, your word has better be qualitative.
Okay.
Qualitative mean to say, you say, there is a strong possibility. Yeah, that's the most you can say.
Okay.
All right.
All
Okay,
right,
any
Prof.
other question? So again, I would like to reiterate, this is not a copy and paste work from previous work. If you try to do that for qualitative, tak jadi. This one has to be original work. And that is why uh, one of my professors before, Professor Kevin Crowston by the name, he was a graduate from Harvard University and then his PhD from MIT. And he was a quantitative person. I mean, his specialization is in mathematics and statistics. But the funny thing is that most of his research is using qualitative. So I asked him, what happened? And his answer was that, I mean, doing quantitative research, nothing much you can find, nothing new. But with qualitative, there are so many things that you can highlight. No, you understand what he mentioned here? I mean to say, making a breakthrough in his research, this is where to go. Qualitative is the way to go as compared to quantitative. But not to say that quantitative, you cannot find something really new like that. You can also do that by using mediator and moderator kind of research. Ada. Yeah. For the quantitative class, I'm also teaching that one, moderator, mediator research. Ada juga. But for qualitative, it's better because you really can find something new. But you have to make sure before you claim that this is new thing that I found here, you have to exhaust all the literature that has been done by other people before. Otherwise, you're making a false claim. But even if you found out that there is something new, that the most you can say, my advice is, okay, possibly, this is maybe a new. That's about the words that you have to be very careful in using the words. Faham, understand, Please respond, Okay, ada soalan? No soalan, So we move on to the next one. Now, again, under methodology, in any research, the reader will try to find out first from your abstract, what is the research design used in your study? Right? This is one of the first few things that I will try to locate to find out. What design? What is the research design? So the first here is a case study. Case study implicate, once I see this one, oh, this is just a case study. They will mean to say it's just a small study. Yeah, looking at a small case, that's it. Perhaps in only one small organization, perhaps in only one small area, perhaps in only one isolated place. It's not all over. So I already understand this is a small study. So it is safe, right? It is safe for us to come up with a research design using case study. But then the second one is critical social research. Critical social research is any kind of research that relate to sociology, anything to do with social. That is what we call critical social research. Anything happens, social problem, drugs problem, gangster, bully, and all those things can be considered as critical social research. And then the other one is ethnography. Ethnography means to say that you want to find out about specific ethnic, about the culture of that ethnic, the behavior, the people, the culture, the practices, all those things comes under ethnography. Yeah. And then phenomenology means to say something happened at a place, a phenomena happening, phenomenon in certain place, certain part of the world, and you want to study that phenomena. Okay, phenomena can be in the organization. A phenomena can also be within a family institution. Phenomena can be at any place as long as it can be identified as a phenomena. Yes, it can be. We can use this phenomenology. Then another one is what we call grounded theory. For academic research, or fundamental research, normally this is where to go, like grounded theory. Mean to say we are hoping to find out a new theory, or maybe to build upon previous theory. Yeah, that's another part of it. Normally, it's not easy to come up with totally new theory. Yeah, most of the theories are already there. So this grounded theory is maybe built on previous theories. Okay, and then the other one here is historical. Yeah, there could be historical study based on pictures, based on documents, based on artifacts, based on sharing by people who has been there telling about something back in history. So this can be historical. So these are the different kind of research design, yeah, that we can do. Faham semua? Any question on that? Can we mix this one? Case study and ethnography, case study and phenomenology? Yes, you can do that. Yeah, case study and grounded theory? Yes, you can do that. All right, now, place and time of study. Place and time of study. This one is very important for you to state, and you have to mention where do you want to conduct the study, the place, and also the time. Yeah, the time has to be mentioned clearly because different time you might get a different kind of reflection or different kind of answers or different kind of data. So the time of the study, for example, what time of the year, what date of during that particular year, is it a rainy season or is it a dry season? It will be different. The finding will be different. Or is it during the holiday time or during the school time? It's also we come up with different kind of findings. And then the population under study, you need to identify this one. You need to mention where is the population that you use for this particular study. Not to say that you want to generalize your finding, but at least to situate your finding, to say that, okay, the finding that I have here is from a given population. Yeah. Because somebody need to understand that. Maybe because you know why? If they do the same study using everything from your study, including your interview instrument, all your report, your framework, everything, and they conduct the same study at a different place in other parts of the world, they might get a different result. Why? Because of the different population, different location, different time just now. So that's why we have to mention all this systematically and scientifically so that other people, when they replicate the study, then people will understand why there are differences in terms of the findings. There are maybe similarities, there are also differences. If there are similarities, they will mean that we can say, despite the different place, different population, but still the finding is similar. That would be very interesting. All right. And then the unit of analysis here also, are you trying to study a group of people or you trying to study an individual in your particular study? But most will be in the individual here. But some study using qualitative also, they use group. This is what they call using focus group. Yeah, focus group or interview. The interview conducted will be in groups. So you are more interested in the group responses rather than the individual responses. How you record this one also, you record it based on the group as one. You can do that as well. You can report it as a group, but you have to mention it clearly. Wow. Hang on. Qualitative, all right. Then the number of sample. Number of sample, respondents, and informant. All if the population is small, but minimum 8 or more till saturation. if the population is huge. I mean to say, okay, minimum, some literature says 10, but most, I would say 8 should be enough. But that depends, right? If let's say you already interview 8 people, but you still found out that after the 8th interview, there's still new finding, different perception of a thing, of a particular subject matter. That will mean to say you have to continue on. But if after you interviewed 5 and 5 on the interview number 6, 7, 8, more or less the same thing like what has been said by previous day one. So means to say this enough. Okay, I think I have to that one first. Excuse me for a while. Okay, sorry. Right. Now, any question about that one just now? Minimum 8 or more till saturation? Ada soalan ke?
No.
Now you understand. I mean to say that it depends. If masih ada new thing, I mean to say you have to continue. All right. There's no specific number of participants here. But let's say in a different case, if you want to study about somebody, very successful person, let's say, for example, if you want to study about my example, I would like to use maybe Tun Taib, let's say. Yeah, you want to study Tun Taib. How many Tun Taib in this world?
Only one.
Only one. So that means to say you have only one participant. But then again, because you want to study him, you want to study something, not just him actually, there are people that are connected to him, right? So then you can study, use his family members as an informant as well, people who are close to him, his friends, people who work with him, under him. Those are the people you can interview as well. That doesn't mean you'll interview him alone. All right. So you still have choices there. You can interview people that are close to him. Perhaps then this is the way that you can get a different perspective of him. Because oftentimes if you ask yourself, I mean, yeah, you have your own perspective of yourself, but the person close to you might have a different perspective of you. Betul tak? Your spouse or your girlfriend or boyfriend, they might have a different perspective of you. Faham, eh? So now, a particular subject, in this qualitative study, you can study it from different perspective. You can look at it from different perspective, from different people, from different what do you call it? Different person perspective. Now, let's say you want to study in the school, there are categories like excellent teachers, ada kan? Cikgu cemerlang, guru cemerlang kan?
Ada.
Guru cemerlang. And maybe you want to study guru cemerlang. Berapa orang guru cemerlang, how many guru cemerlang. Kalau you nak study satu orang betul-betul cemerlang, let's say guru cemerlang, you can study them as one person, or you can study them as a group of guru cemerlang. If you study them as a one person, that is where you need to study all the people that are around him or her to really understand how to be guru cemerlang. You faham maksud saya ke?
Yeah, so means that, Doctor, if I want to study about a person, so if I only interview that person, that means there's an individual research.
Boleh, ya.
Yeah, so yeah, if I involve the person or the people related to him or her, then it's a group research. Is that like that?
No, this is not individual. This is still individual research. The analysis is still individual. Let's say, because when we say group, we take the whole group as one opinion. But for this study just now, if you want to study a person, let's say Guru Cemerlang, though you study that one person, but you study him or her from a different perspective. Mean to say, you're going to study, interview the family members, the spouse, the children, and also the friends, and also people, the colleague, These are the different people that you're going to interview. But you interview them as individuals. You cannot put them as a collective, as a group. Because the question that you're going to ask them are different kind of question. The question that you ask the family members are different from the question that you're going to ask the colleague. Betul tak? But here, it might involve different kind of question, different instrument used. Possible. This is where that makes the qualitative study very interesting, because we really want to highlight. For example, you nak study, who are excellent in Malaysia? Do you think that need to be studied? Siapa? Katakan Pandalela. Right? Betul, Pandalela. Boleh study ke Pandalela? Boleh. Using qualitative. And not only her. Kita study first about her. Kita tanya dia all the different things, the important things in her life. Macam mana dia jadi cemerlang, macam mana dia jadi world champion sekarang. What are the steps that she need? What are the kind of training? What are the kind of lifestyle dia? Lepas tu, after interview dia, you kena interview dia punya coach as well. Interview people who are close to her. Then you really can understand her. Why this is important? Because you know why? Only through this kind of study, it can be replicated. How she managed to become champion. We really do a complete study about her. Then other people might be able to emulate, follow her they want. You see, you get great details from this qualitative study. You tak dapat kalau you guna quantitative study, nothing much you can get out of them. Betul tak?
Yes, I agree, Doctor.
Yeah, betul.
Apa? Macam Lee Chong Wei, you can study. Yeah, used to be badminton champion. And the new badminton champion All England baru-baru ni, siapa nama? Just trying to take over.
Lee Zixia.
Okay. Then we can study macam mana dia boleh jadi champion. It will be very interesting to study them. Tapi kita tak ada effort nak study yang macam ni. Kalau saya lah, ada masa memang saya study semua tu. And then Nicole David. We have so many excellent punya tu that can be replicated. Maybe somebody want to follow dia punya footstep apa semua. You need to do a comprehensive study about her life from the parent, from the father, from the family members, from the siblings. Kita nak tahu macam mana dia punya lifestyle tu, macam mana dia punya tu discipline, personal discipline. All this require all this kind of thing, the kind of training, the different type of training. If we can capture all those, then only that material can be used to develop another champion. Because without that tak dapat. So sometimes kita tak ada champion yang apa tu? yang sometimes kita dah ada champion, but after a while tak ada champion langsung. Because you know why? Dia punya talent, dia punya apa tu, not properly shared to different individuals, to the younger generation. Because why? Lacking in term of research. Yang macam ni lah. Menggunakan qualitative means. Okay? Faham Now, just now siapa tadi? Audrey ke? Yang tanya pasal group research tadi.
Tan.
Ha? Tang.
Tan.
Okay, Tang Okay, group research ni different. For example, you want to find out problems in a community, because you're not interested in the individual already. If this is a community problem, you are more interested in the whole community. What are the problems? For example, something break out in a community lah. For example, problem with for example, waste management. Waste management is a community problem. So you don't have to go for individuals interview. We just bring them, come up, call them for a group interview, and that's it. But when we do the analysis later on, we can say this is the what do you call it? The findings from community A. This is finding from community. When you do the reporting later on, you faham? Understand what I mean here? In community A, we have this kind of problem. Community B, maybe the same problem or maybe different kind of problem. We use the community rather than the individual within that community. Faham
Doctor, I'm still a bit confused. If like test, if I want to study about a group, I want to get a result from a group, and I interview them individually first, and then I group it, the result. Is it?
No, don't. Group mean group.
Okay. So
Group.
how the interview will be conducted is we interview individually first, right? And then
No need the individual interview. You just call for a group interview. This is what we call the focus interview. Focus group interview, around maximum is 10 people per group. You put them in a room together, so ask them a question and they answer. But you take the responses from them as a group, not as individual. You understand?
So meaning that we interview them pada masa yang sekali macam tu lah?
Yes, same time.
Oh, okay.
Same time, same room.
Oh, right. Thank you.
As a group.
Okay.
Tapi when you record the responses, it's not as individually what they say as an individual, but as a group. That's it.
Prof,
Ah,
which means that if my respondents are divided into subgroups, I have to use this method where I interview them as a group.
yeah,
Is it?
yeah, because you are more interested
Oh, okay.
in the group punya responses than the individual here. For example, in the cases now, community. Yeah, the problem with COVID, you are more interested in a group. Okay, what does this particular group of people from Tabuan Jaya say versus group of people from other part there? So that you can put them together instead of trying to interview them individually, where you require more work, Because qualitative mean for each of the interview, you have to record all the interviews and then you have to transcribe the interview again and then you do the coding analysis later. You understand what I'm trying to say here? Volume of work is humongous, there are too many.
But if
If
we
you were-
want to do that, is it okay? Like we want to go one by one and see what every person in a group thinks.
Okay. This is a shortcut lah. I mean, like I said in the beginning just now, we cannot implicate, we cannot implicate a qualitative use and then trying to generalize the finding to a group or what. We cannot do that. Not unless we just call for a group interview, then we can implicate, okay, these are a group of participants from Tabuan Jaya. And these are what they report. But we still cannot generalize this one to everyone in Tabuan Jaya. No, we can only generalize it to that particular group lah. Mean to say we have more numbers there. More numbers means stronger in our claim lah to say, okay, these are the reports from this group of people. Not from individual, but from group of people. Trying to group them. And then when we do the reporting, it's a lot simpler than trying to implicate every single responses. Just imagine if there are 10 people there, we coming up, you call them for a focus group interview, so many opinion, and you try to record each and individual one, tak dapat, because you know why? The purpose of having them in group is group dynamic. Group dynamic is important because sometimes when you isolate them, interview them individually, not in a group, maybe they're a bit shy to come up with new ideas or whatever responses, giving their responses. But you put them in a group like that, everybody want to talk. You understand? But the problem is that how are you going to record it? Okay, you cannot stop them. Okay, you first and then you first. I record it properly, then you talk. We cannot do that. We just ask them, okay, never mind, you go talk. We don't want to disturb the flow in the discussion. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Uh,
But what if only like a few are actually responsive and the rest are not talking?
It's okay. I mean, that's why the moderator for that particular group is maybe ada masalah lah. You as a moderator, you have to be trained first in the first place to do a group interview. You cannot allow one person there to talk all throughout, and you have to quiet him or her. You say, okay, please, can I hear opinion from other people as well? And this is where the moderator plays a very important role to moderate and to facilitate the discussion. Faham, you understand?
Yes. Okay, Prof.
Okay.
So, Prof, we don't have to make sure that we get ready for 5 questions. So we don't have to make sure you have to answer these 5 questions and you have to answer
Boleh,
these 5.
boleh, because it's not an exam. You can
Okay.
give it out to them first. Okay, these are the questions I'm going to ask. Prepare, jawab. But we don't want here, for example, kita tak nak lah that I mean, in a group discussion like that, sometimes must be ada yang monopoli. I mean, people who really can talk, wah, dia yang control the whole session. Tak boleh macam tu, tapi that's where kita punya tu lah, expertise and our function as a moderator there, kita moderate the discussion and give chances to everyone, hear opinions from everyone. Okay? Because at the end of the day, it's not just one person opinion. We are talking about the group punya opinion. Kalau ada satu orang tanya macam tu, we can also ask them. Yang lain setuju kan dengan dia punya pendapat? We can also ask like that. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Kalau-
How we moderate the discussion is important. Yeah. Kalau apa? Konflik of opinion dalam tu.
Contohlah kalau seseorang kita dapat cari around like five people for our interview. Boleh juga kan, Prof. But mereka bagi luar daripada kita punya soalan. Contohnya kita beritahu pasal the effect of social culture, and then dia pula cerita pasal benda lain. Macam mana kita nak kembalikan itu?
Then of course the moderator yang cakap, oh itu luar topik. Kita kena balik
moderator juga.
You have to bring back. Because yang luar daripada topik is out of your objective. Dia punya finding tak guna. You cannot, it doesn't answer your objective. Mana tak guna lah. Mana tak valid, tak reliable. You punya soalan tak valid, tak reliable. Dia punya responses tak valid, tak reliable. That's why we have to bring them back. Tapi in your case just now, you managed to find only 5%, then you shouldn't use a group.
Okay, for individual.
This is an individual punya tu interview. Because you only require group kalau you nak group punya responses. The kind of group responses macam saya kata tadi, you want to find out how different community felt about an issue. For example, whether allowing people to go for raya visit or not, you don't want any individual this one because we are just using qualitative, betul tak? Because we are just using qualitative. Kalau kita guna individual punya, then people will know how many people in this one. Only maybe 5 or 6, then they will, they will look down on our study lah. But at least if we use the group punya responses, okay, this one from this kampung, this one from that kampung, that one from another kampung, that one from another group of that one, then you get a better finding lah. You understand what I'm saying here?
Yes, yes.
And I'm sure for all the different group, maybe you have 10 groups. Mean to say you conducted 10 different interviews, focus group interview tadi, 10 different group. Banyak tu, katakan satu kumpulan tu ada 10 orang. 10, kalau kata 10 kumpulan, berapa orang semua dalam tu? 100 people kan? Betul tak? Betul. I mean, you can claim better, okay, though we are using qualitative, but these are the voices of people from different perspective already. And you get more that one lah. More coverage. More coverage. And perhaps your finding is good. Because you are not just listening to one person. Because sometimes in whatever thing, interview, in whatever they want, subject matter, they're bound to be biased opinion. Because you know why? Because the answer from any different person can be influenced by his personal bias, his or her personal bias. But when we have group like that, the moderator plays a very important role in the discussion. But of course, it cannot be so formal, so that one, in that kind of discussion. It has to be relaxed. The atmosphere has to be very, fun. There will be a very fruitful discussion in the group. Okay? If you want to hold something like that, you might have to get ready some kind of gift or that one, souvenirs, or maybe some kind of, what do you call it? Tokens for the participant. Jangan dia susah-susah datang, they spend 1 or 2 hours, or maybe sometimes up to 2 or 3 hours discussing about matter, and then makan minum pun tak ada semua sedia. Tak boleh macam tu. You have to get ready something lah. It's normal for people to get ready, makan, minum, or some hadiah lah. You want to give them a bit of money also can. For this, all the other interview also, it would be good to give them some kind of souvenirs or some kind of appreciation as a token of appreciation to them. Okay? But in all this interview, let me remind you first, you must have prepared also the warming up question. Jangan terus direct tanya soalan itu, tak. You have to warm up first. Tanya soalan warming up dulu, and then you ada situating statement. Situating statement mean to say that you bring them, before the discussion, you get them ready, bring the scenario to them, to the group first. Okay, this will be the kind of discussion we are talking about. And here's the scenario, the moment, current scenario in this world. So that you can bring them. This is what we call situating statement. So these are the things that you need to prepare in your instrument. First part is the warming up, and then the situating statement you have to prepare. After that only you prepare all the questions for the actual interview. Okay, any question here? Ada soalan ke? Okay, sampling method. The sampling method here is non-probability sample. Judgmental, purposive, ataupun snowballing, ataupun quota sample. Purposive sample is the kind of sampling that is being used in qualitative. Yang paling banyak sekali digunakan adalah purposive. Mean to say, purposive ni kita bukan pilih at random. Suka-suka hati kita cari betul-betul random. Siapa-siapa boleh dalam kita punya ni, tak boleh. It's purposive. Kita call someone for interview because there is a purpose. And that particular person that we want to use as informant in our study is qualified to be an informant because he or she understands the subject matter, he or she experienced the phenomena, he or she is knowledgeable about the thing that we are interested to know. There are preconditions for this one. That's why you call purposive. This is very important, purposive. Snowballing. Snowballing ni, they are kind of research. They are kind of research. Which is not easy for you to find the informant. Then you use snowballing. One of my students before, she did a study on teenage smokers, girls smoking. So managed to get one and she get the others, the rest, the friends of hers. So meaning to say you get one person, for example, drug addicts. You want to study about drug addicts. You get one person, that one person might bring you to dia punya colleague, dia punya kawan-kawan, dia punya gang. This is what we mean by snowballing. You get one person and that person bring another. Faham what is a snowballing? Quota sample just now is what the sample that I use just now. For example, you want to study the perceptions of the community, different communities. Then we use community, each community as a quota. Dia kata 10 orang from this community, 10 orang from that community, 10 orang from other communities. That's a quota sampling method. Okay? Faham semua Kalau keluar dalam final exam, boleh buat.
InsyaAllah.
Okay
Yang judgmental tadi tu, macam mana yang untuk judgmental?
Judgmental tadi bagaimana kita pilih. Bila kita pilih seseorang tu, must be ada justifikasi. Ada prerequisite before kita nak pilih dia interview. First thing, prerequisite dia mesti kata, dia boleh bercakap bahasa Inggeris. Prerequisite dia. Nombor dua, dia memang pengalaman. Dia expert dalam masalah ini. Memang dia bergelumang dengan masalah ni. Yang ketiga, dia maybe umur dia mencukupi. Dia boleh bercakap, saya kata. Dia bukan budak-budak yang kecil, yang perlu tu semua. Itu kita kena tentukan semua ni. Ya.
Kalau kita mix, dia dapat ke?
Macam mana?
Mix dia punya sampling method. Contohnya pakai judgmental, lepas tu pakai persuasive pula. Contohlah. Ataupun kita spesifik pada satu saja.
Boleh. You nak guna semua different method tu boleh. Tapi why? My question is why? Kan menyusah diri you sendiri, because then you will have to write in your chapter 3 tu, you laporkan saya akan menggunakan 3 different method disebabkan. You have to give a justification why you need all the 3 different methods of sampling to be used. Why just not one only? Every single one you pilih ni, you kena bagi justifikasi. Okay, saya menggunakan method purposive ni sebab saya memerlukan seseorang yang di-interview ni betul-betul tahu mengenai perkara yang nak di-interview ni. I mean, you have to have justification. Then maybe kalau kata snowballing ni, saya menggunakan snowballing ni sebab memang susah. Topik ni memang susah nak cari informant. Sebab takkan ada orang yang mengaku dia ni penagih dadah. Faham tak? Ataupun in other cases before student yang cuba nak study about sexual harassment. Susah nak cari orang nak claim, okay, dia boleh interview dia sexual harassment. Tapi tak. This one only specific people yang dah kena tu. So kalau you nak kata you nak guna all the different method tu boleh. But you have to explain dalam you punya thesis tu, kenapa 3 method ni semua diperlukan. And then dalam finding you nanti, you kena declare juga mungkin ada perbezaan pendapat ni. Pendapat daripada kumpulan yang menggunakan purposive tadi dengan snowballing ni berbeza pendapat. Then you have to report seperti itu juga. Dia kata kemungkinan perbezaan ni tadi adalah disebabkan cara mengambil sampling yang digunakan untuk kajian ini, sebab yang menggunakan snowballing tu dia punya pendapat macam ni. Yang menggunakan purposive method ni pendapat macam ni. Dia kena lapor tu semua nanti kalau ada perbezaan. Kalau persamaan sama je dia punya laporan tu, dapatan tu, tak apalah. Faham Bukan tak boleh, boleh. Tapi jarang orang nak buat macam tu, menyusahkan diri dia. Okay, ada lagi soalan yang lain? Good question though, at least we help us to understand kan.
Ya.
Bagi saya lah, research ni, try to make it as simple as possible. Jangan cuba nak menyusah. Satu lagi ya, topik yang boleh menyusahkan kita nak buat perbandingan antara kumpulan A dengan kumpulan B, gunakan kualitatif tadi. My advice to this one, why do you have to do that? Kenapa you susah-susah nak study dua different kumpulan ni? When you can study satu kumpulan saja, tak payah dibandingkan, dah okey dapat you punya PhD. Kenapa perlu you buat dua sampai dua? Faham tak maksud saya? So, dalam kajian ni, to me lah, make it as simple as possible. Jangan menyusahkan diri. At the end of the day, the ability to complete your research, that enables you to get an A. Bukan how hebat you punya cara tu, how apa tu, apa dikata kita, difficult your technique to get something out of it. Boleh, tapi you buat macam tu. Tapi, but still at the end of the day, kita ni setakat peringkat belajar ni, you setakat ni nak belajar, nak cuba faham macam mana nak guna method ni dulu. Itu je. At the end of the tu, nak dapat good grades. Full stop. You belum lagi peringkat sebagai betul-betul researcher trying to do earth-shattering kind of research. Satu research yang boleh menggegar dunia. Ini bukan this test lah. You boleh buat tu nanti selepas you jadi researcher nantilah boleh buat kerja tu. Sekarang ni sebagai student, I mean, you have to understand that. Jangan fikir terlalu tu sangat. Yang penting, do a research, ada topic of interest, get it completed, and understand the process of doing research. Buat masa ni, that's it. Later on your own, cari you punya budget, cari you punya dana apa semua untuk buat research that you are interested to do. Boleh buat tu. At other time lah. Boleh faham semua? Because kalau you punya research tu complicated sangat, you akan menghadapi kesulitan. Topik you sendiri tu akan menghantui you nanti sehingga you tak dapat tidur. Makan pun tak kenyang, tidur pun tak lena. Lepas tu you punya supervisor pun pening kepala, dia pun tak pandai nak guide you. The most dia kata, ni bunyi tak okey. Itu tak okey. Dia pun tak tahu macam nak bantu you. Buat apa? At the end of the day, what is the purpose of that? Buang masa. Okay? So,
Prof, kami ada soalan.
okay, apa soalan?
Apa beza judgmental dengan purposive? Because the way you explain judgmental tadi, tiba-tiba it sounded very similar dengan purposive.
It is the same thing.
Oh ya, okay lah.
They just mention different researcher guna different that one terminology je. Ada yang guna judgmental, ada yang guna purposive. Ada yang guna perkataan selective pun ada. But they are all the same thing. Mean to say, you select an informant for your study because of a certain reason. Ada justifikasi you. Itu je. Bukan you simply suka-suka hati pilih people on the street. Tak. You pilih ni sebab ni memang orang yang expert betul ni dalam ni yang dapat share dia punya opinion on this particular thing. Tu purposive tadi. Because kita tak nak nanti bunyi kata ni our respondents informant just people on the street, anyone we pick from that one. No. Alright, we select them for a reason. Now, continue lagi. Method of data collection. Could be using survey, using questionnaire. Kita boleh gunakan survey using questionnaire, tapi open-ended questionnaire. Open-ended questionnaire. We can conduct it using face-to-face, ataupun online, ataupun interview, social media, ataupun kita boleh buat in a group pun boleh. Gunakan open-ended questionnaire tadi dalam satu group. Itu lebih bagus. For example, kita nak buat satu study. Macam mana persepsi pelajar learning sciences. Cohort berapa? You all cohort berapa? 18.
18.
Kita nak study pelajar learning sciences cohort 17 dan 18 mengenai pendapat mereka mengenai social media misalnya kata. kita kumpulkan dalam satu forum, macam kumpulan ni, dalam grup ni. Lepas tu kita tanya beberapa soalan, suruh dia orang jawab. On a piece of paper, open-ended. Boleh ke tak buat macam ni? Boleh tak?
Boleh.
Boleh. You know why? By doing that, how many of us in this class? 20 orang katakan, betul tak? Ada 20 orang dalam kelas ni kan? Betul tak?
Ya, 20.
Kalau kata I shoot a question, beberapa soalan dalam kelas ni, and you all jawab sekarang ni, then paling lama sekali you all boleh jawab soalan tu. Simple interview tu lah. Ada 3 soalan saja. Berapa lama paling lama? You rasa? Sampai 1 jam jawab tu ke? 3 soalan tu.
Kalau 1 jam, ya 1 jam lebih.
Itu paling lama lah kan?
Ya, paling lama.
Paling lama jawab.
Ya, pendapat.
Okay, mana 1 jam lebih. Tapi kalau kita conduct during at the same time macam ni, bermakna we gonna spend berapa jam? 1 jam lebih juga kan? Betul tak? We gonna spend only how many hours all in all? If I conduct it now through this one online class, how much? I mean time that I gonna spend with you all to get back your feedback. How many hours?
2 hours.
The most is 2 hours, then we get all the feedback from you. Betul tak? Saya guna poll tadi lah, tanya soalan. Lepas tu you jawab lah suka hati. You jawab panjang ke pendek, you nak jawab suka hati you. You tak dapat jawab gunakan tulisan, you boleh guna audio punya jawapanmu boleh. Tapi preferably I nak you tulis. Why? Kenapa I nak you tulis? Because later on I don't have to transcribe you punya jawapan. Faham tak? Kalau I have to transcribe it, I mean to say 2 hours punya spoken punya tu audio punya data. How many hours do I need to transcribe it later on?
Oh, lama loh.
Lama kan?
Ikut pengalaman saya memang lama.
Kalau kata I allow you all to use voice punya tu audio punya responses. Ada 20 orang dalam ni. Then I have to transcribe 20 orang tu. How many hours do I need to take to do those things? Transcribing. Transcribing mean I have to capture every word that you spoke, termasuk semua ada masuk tu. All this need to be transcribed. All this needs to be transcribed. So I mean to say it will be very miserable for me after your class kan. Collect that kind of data. Now
Pernah mengalami, Prof.
Ya, tu. Now use your experience about. Now versus kalau saya force semua sebab I know you all boleh tulis. Okay, now you tulis in a piece of paper. Do I need to transcribe?
No, copy and paste.
Tak perlu. Tak copy and paste pun I just use your original writing. I just use that. Tapi I kata jangan tulis pakai digital handwriting free hand punya writing I tak nak. It will be miserable for me trying to read nanti kan. I nak you type guna komputer masing-masing. That make it easier for me. Faham So meaning to say, kalau kata 20 orang tadi saya interview gunakan open-ended questionnaire and your responses are all typewritten. That mean to say within 2 hours I managed to collect back 20 different responses from 20 different students. Betul Betul tak? Am I right?
Ya, betul.
Yeah. Now compare that. Siapa yang cakap tadi?
Saya, Prof.
Okay, apa soalan?
Okay, kan survey questionnaire kan mostly about quantitative.
Kuali. Ini open-ended questionnaire. Kuali mean open-ended. Sama macam interview question saya tanya dalam tu.
Oh, salah saya, Prof.
You punya fahaman tu semua questionnaire ni mesti kuanti kan?
Ya, betul.
Okay. Dalam kualitatif ni ada yang boleh gunakan questionnaire juga, tapi cara soalan tu ditanya memang soalan interview tadi. Tapi diletak dalam questionnaire. Bentuk open-ended questionnaire katakan, ataupun guna Google Form. Faham tak? Guna Google Form misalnya kata. So Saya tanyakan ni, saya dapat responses balik dalam 2 jam tadi. Versus, itu 2 jam. Bermakna 2 jam I dah dapat 20 different responses from 20 different students. Now, if I were to do it another way around, I have to interview each and every one of you separately. Saya call by phone, I record it using video punya recording. How much it will take for each interview? Maybe 1 or 2 hours per interview kan? Katakan 1 jam, betul tak?
1 jam.
Okay,
Maximum lah 1 hour.
to complete that 20 student, I will have to spend 20 hours or maybe perhaps tambah lagi tu, 25 hours maybe, betul tak? Betul, faham tak?
Faham.
Faham lah, 25 hours saya nak spend tu. Lepas after the interview, saya kena transcribe lagi. Because I cannot do the interview, misalnya kata in the middle interview, saya tunggu sekejap, saya tulis ni dulu. Bolehkah buat interview macam tu? Anda dah masa kan? We cannot stop like that. We kena dia punya free flow, dia punya apa tu, perbincangan tu dalam interview, dalam temu bual tu. Alright? So, just imagine the time needs to transcribe tu. Per interview tadi, maybe require 1 to 2 hours nak transcribe, tulis. Every word per word, so katakan 2 jam. So, tadi dah spend 25 hours for the interview. Now, sekarang ni, another 40 hours to transcribe it. Nah, 40, dah 50, 60 hours. Berapa hari saya nak selesaikan ni, kerja ni? Berbandingkan saya, okay, I just do one time now, do in the class sekali. Now, do you understand tadi? These are different means of doing the data collection. Faham ke?
Faham.
So, you kena pandai ni, because qualitative interview can take a long time. Because one of my student dulu, sekarang dah jadi lecturer lah. When dia buat interview, saya dah inform dia ni. You can put them, collect them, call them at one place and do one straight interview, ask them to write one, rather than you interview one by one. Dia kata dia nak do it interview one by one nanti, because dia kata you get better data lah. Tak apalah saya kata. I mean, your choice. Dia buat. Itu dia almost 5 tahun nak complete ni semua. Dia punya transcription tu bukan sikit data yang diperlu tu, banyak. And dia punya interview tu ada kadang yang sampai 2 kali, 3 kali interview. You understand apa yang saya kata ni? Versus apa, then at the end of it dia kata, saya punya nasihat tu memang valid betul lah. She could have saved a lot of time using open-ended questionnaire, guna online, guna guna email saja. And let the interviewee themselves fill in the answers. It can save a lot of time. Faham di sini tak? I'm not saying that cara yang lama tu salah. I'm not saying that. Of course, that is the best way to do it. Tapi, I'm saying that there is a better way. There is an alternate way of doing the data collection and make this study as fast as doing a quantitative. Faham
Faham.
Mana kita ada choice. Bukan mana kita bila kita buat tadi, kualitatif tadi, bermakna, we're gonna spend more time, long time. No. It's how you collect the data that matters. So, boleh tadi guna face to face, boleh guna online, boleh guna telefon, boleh guna social media. This survey, this questionnaire, boleh guna all the different methods tu boleh. Different media tu boleh. Different avenue tu boleh diguna pakai. Satu survey, then another one is using interview tadi, face to face or telephone nak interview. Seperti mana yang saya kata tadi, ada dia punya disadvantages lah using the face to face interview atau telefon tadi. You're gonna spend a lot of time. Tapi certain that one lah. Kalau kata you nak interview, for example, Tun Mahathir, dapatkah you suruh dia isi soalan-soalan you online saja? There is a question here. Sometime, maybe not able to do that. Dia mungkin tak ada masa nak jawab soalan tu. The most is you interview dia lah, buat proper interview. You see, there are times where you really need to do the face-to-face interview with people. Because you know why? your presence there matters. Because ada the chemistry when you ada berasa berdepan dengan seseorang tu, dia punya interview, dia punya semangat di interview tu better. As versus you biar mereka buat on their own. Ada beza. There is a difference. Depend on the subject matter that one you want to study itulah. Kalau benda tu tak critical sangat, then maybe you can use the open-ended questionnaire tadi. Tapi kalau something yang really critical that involve people punya experience, involve people punya personal what do you call it, phenomena that happens in their life, certain tragedy or certain things that happen to them, better be in person, better be real interview for this kind of topic. So the kind of topic that you want to do will really determine the kind of methods of data collection you want to use. Okay, after that, ada apa yang dipanggilkan focus group discussion, apa yang saya kata tadi, menggunakan kumpulan. Lepas tu, document analysis, observation technique. Document analysis ni sama juga dengan library research ataupun literature review research. That's it. Literature review research. Makna kita punya data, kita punya jawapan tu semua datang daripada literature review saja. Ataupun kita punya analisis tu datang daripada gambar-gambar saja, document, based on gambar-gambar lama. Or maybe just from the artifacts that we collect, historical artifact. It could be like that. Those are document analysis punya research. Bolehkah buat macam tu? Just literature review. Boleh lepas lulus ke learning science ni? Boleh. Ada student saya lepas dulu, banyak. Dia buat document analysis saja. Okay, dia buat perbandingan literature dalam satu topik tu, apa orang lain dah buat dari dulu-dulu, sejak tahun berapa, dalam database, pelbagai database. Lepas tu dia punya compilation, dia punya finding tu semua is very important sebenarnya. But you group together all the different literature into one literature. Boleh publish ke yang macam ni? Yes, we can publish it. Okay, itu document analysis. Another method is observation technique.
Boleh ke Prof? Boleh ke? Maksudnya tak perlu interview, tak perlu apa semua. Kita just kajian perpustakaan saja.
Boleh.
Boleh.
Boleh. Kenapa tak boleh?
Boleh jugalah.
Boleh. Because kalau kata
Jadi finding kita macam mana? Finding tu macam mana?
kita punya finding dia dapat dapatan kita misal kata okey, kita nak kaji apa orang dah publish, apa orang dah buat research berkaitan dengan COVID ni. Okey, dan kita bukan mudah juga ni lah, bukan mudah ni. Dan kita kena cari semua available research out there pertaining to COVID-19. Kita cari semua. And this will involve banyak tau. Ada from medical research, ada from psychology punya research, ada daripada sekolah punya research, ada daripada pelbagai different perspective, different categories lagi ni. Faham tak? Bukan sikit. For each of them nanti, from all of this, then you come up with a conclusion. You kata from this area medical, blah blah blah, semua dah ada research. Tapi mungkin ada satu bahagian, satu lagi belum ada research ni berkaitan dengan kanak-kanak and COVID. That one is still limited. Tu you punya finding tu. Kepada ni semua. Dia kata kebanyakan reason ni adalah dari segi ni MCO, dari segi ni semua, dari segi public punya tu lah. Ada banyak. Public health punya tu perspektif banyak. Dari segi medical itself quite limited. Yeah, these are your laporan at the end of your research. And dari segi children affected by COVID, apa semua tak banyak research yang study on this one. Pun boleh you terangkan macam tu. You highlight certain area that are under research. Tak banyak dibuat research. That is the outcome of your research later on.
Prof,
Yeah.
kalau research kita more to achievement institution, academic institution tu, boleh juga pakai document analysis macam tu.
Misal kata you are looking at factors, pelbagai factor.
Yeah.
Factor. Yeah. Boleh menggunakan tu sebab dia katakan daripada research ni seluruh dunia ni adalah senarai faktor-faktor yang berkaitan dengan performance of student. Dari luar negara, dari US, these are factor. Ada perbezaan you kata dari Malaysia, these are factor. Dari UK, these factor ni. This one group all together dalam you punya literature finding tadi, you kata okay, these are semua factor dalam literature seluruh dunia berkaitan performance. Boleh, kenapa tak boleh?
Okay.
Tapi
Tapi yang mana senang, Prof?
Ha?
Yang mana senang?
Apa
Yang mana
dia?
senang mana kita buat interview session dengan kita cari di dokumen analisis.
Saya
Yang
rasa
mana lebih mudah?
saya rasa semuanya sama susah. Sebab yang dokumen analisis ni memang kita nak tengok you punya your coverage tu. Apa database you guna, semua kena senarai, kena explain tu database yang you guna, Emerald saya kata, Sign apa tu, all the different databases, Science Direct, apa semua tu ada di senarai kat situ semua. So your reader nanti bila dia tengok you ada guna Eric, you ada guna Science Direct, you ada guna Emerald, you ada guna ni, you ada guna program spec, all this dah ada semua tu. Maybe you tak belum guna lagi ni. You kena cakap tu dalam limitasi you. Ini tak termasuk database daripada universiti tempatan sebab susah nak access. Tapi all the world punya database tu dah ada kat situ. So whoever read you punya finding nanti, kalau dia dapat you punya literature, they want to do something on yang tu tadi, performance, academic performance tadi, dia orang tak payah refer kepada benda lain, dia just refer to your article saja. But are you able to say that? We have to be careful. You have to be very careful, betul tak?
Betul.
You have to exhaust semua literature dalam dunia tadi. Tak semudah tu lah. Tengok student saya merangkak juga dia buat.
Prof,
Ya.
sebenarnya ada limitation ke untuk macam document analysis?
Yes.
Berapa document, I mean how many years of, atau berapa sumber, 5
Ya.
tahun ke atau berapa sumber minimum? Macam
Tak,
info
dia tak ada rules of thumb in this, kena ada macam ni, tapi you kena declare your limitation. That is the ethic. You declare your limitation. You say that, okay, my literature review doesn't consist of all those literature before 2010. Terlalu banyak you kata. Because when I Google this one, under Science Direct, you kata ada million of article. Dia tak ada masa nak go through tu. So saya ambil 2010 and above sahaja. And then you kata, all my literature review ni tak termasuk yang ada daripada koleksi the different university all over the world. Tak ada, because I don't have access to it. I only have access to yang betul-betul put online only. So you declare lah, okay, your that one.
sendiri declare lah, sendiri yang set limitation.
Yeah, that limitation you have to declare. In any research, you have to declare the limitation, what you did not do. Sama lah dengan ni juga.
Okay, thank you.
Alright, any other question? Okay, that document
Prof?
analysis.
In a data collection, how many method can we use in one study?
Again tadi yang ni dalam kualitatif ni tak heran you might be using different methods. For example tadi you nak study one specific person, guru cemerlang. Tapi ternyata guru ni sendiri dia okay you interview dia personally. Dia nak you interview dia because you also want to establish rapport dengan dia, because you nanti at the end of the day you're not just writing a research outcome. You also want to come up with a book. Betul tak?
Yeah.
Want a book about him. So maybe you use, okay, with him you use interview, personal interview. Tapi dengan people surrounding them, you don't need the interview. Maybe you just use questionnaire saja. Open-ended questionnaire. You might be using different methods. It's okay to use different method tadi lah for this kind of purpose. It serves to your benefit tadi. Kalau kata you can settle everything using open-ended questionnaire, well, might as well do it that way. Simpler, the better. Faham saya? Maksud saya?
Yeah, but what if we just want to use another method for reinforcement of our findings from another method?
Nonsense.
Huh?
Nonsense. Why do you need
I
to do
mean,
that?
I mean, just to,
Because you are not
for
confident with your
example,
first method of data collection. Why use it?
not
I
to
mean,
say not confident, to
now,
reinforce.
you see, I'm talking on the side of a reviewer. As a reviewer, that's the way I see
Okay,
it. That means to say you are not competent in using the first method, then you have to use second and third method to substantiate the first method. That
okay,
means
okay,
there is a flow in your first method.
okay,
You understand what I'm saying? From a review
yes,
perspective, a
okay,
reviewer perspective, that's the only way I see it as a weakness, rather than your different method comprehend the first method.
okay.
You should just, report the first method. I'm using all the possible that one. That is the best. No bias, no that one. But yet again, tapi kalau kata you terpaksa guna dua methods lah. To be honest, because you cannot get everything just by observation, for example. Now, for those of you who are using just observation technique, because the limitation is that you don't know what is in the opinion or what is in the mind of that particular person that you are observing. Faham maksud saya tak? Now, only under these circumstances, you are using an observation technique. Ya, perlu another technique to support you punya finding. Betul. Tapi kalau dah interview tu, you perlu ada method lagi tu. Susah lah. Tak perlulah. Only under observation. Itu pun just observation. Bukan you as a participant observer. Faham maksud saya tak? Now, this observation, there are two different techniques. Satu, you observe other people. You are just observing. But another one, you are a participant observer. Mean to say, you are involved in the activity itself. This is different. Kalau you as a participant observer, macam yang sama lah macam yang Bruno Menzer yang saya ceritakan. Did I tell you the story about Bruno Menzer?
Yes, and I went to read about him.
Oh, okay. That's a different thing because he himself observed and he participated. Dia tak perlu yang lain-lain, tak perlu interview lagi because dia experience the whole life of a penan already. But if you are just using observation technique, tak cukup. Walaupun you can declare, tapi walaupun tak cukup, you can declare as you punya limitation later on that you did not interview, you did not do anything, no interaction with the informant, nothing. This is purely just observation. You declare it as such and you put down your limitation. Actually, is it enough? Yes, it is enough. It is sufficient. Faham Then you recommend in future study need to follow up with interview. Boleh ke? Faham ke maksud saya?
Yeah, I
Ah.
think so.
Then, kalau kata you observe and then you interview at the same time, that is your methodology that you want to use, that you want to propose, pun boleh. Boleh juga. First you observe, then you interview. Boleh. Tak ada masalah. But mine is for simplicity purpose. That's it. Observation, I just say I declare this is just based on my observation only. That's it. Full stop.
So if I observe the same respondent and I interview the same respondent, that is not, in your view, it's a weakness or
Not
not?
evidence. You only, tambah kerja.
Okay.
Tambah kerja. Tapi boleh. You really want to study it, if you really want to serious about studying a thing lah, but you just want a quick study, observation, boleh. Boleh lulus tak? Just do the observation. Yeah, dapat A ke tak? Dapat A. But of course the procedure has to be well done lah. Faham maksud saya dah?
Yeah.
Because jangan kita fikir, using observation technique tak cukup. We have to use interview. I don't want you to put such a condition like that. Because a researcher like Robert Bogdan, who is an expert in observation, dia tak setuju dengan you. Dia kata dia observation technique dah cukup by itself. But of course you need to declare, like I said tonight, declare the limitation. That's very, very important, very professional about it. We declare our limitation. Okay, faham
Yeah.
Alright, maybe kalau later on lah you do your PhD or what dalam research, using research methodology. Your supervisor takut lah, dia takut. Bukan you takut. Dia takut nanti kalau viva you kena tanya kenapa ni, kenapa tu. Kalau you tak pandai jawab, you tak confident, supervisor you tak confident, then you might have to do that lah. observation, lepas tu interview lagi, macam-macam lagi kena buat. Jadi participant observer lagi. Yeah, but this depending on siapa you punya supervisor. Confident ke tak confident dia nak defense you nanti. You understand what I'm saying here? But we cannot
Yes,
say
Prof.
this one single method is not sufficient. No, there's no such thing. That we need triangulation, we need all so many different methods. To me, that shows weaknesses in your first method. All right. From a reviewer perspective, is different from your supervisor perspective. Oh, faham eh? Okay, then research instrument, prepare data collection instrument, open-ended questionnaire for example. You kena prepare ni betul-betul. Ensuring the validity and reliability of the research instrument. Conduct a pre-test and pilot test to ensure clarity and getting rid of ambiguity. Itu yang penting. Answer what need to be answered based on the objective of research question, translating the instrument into the language of respondents and informant, minimum at least 2 diverse informant. Alright, now what it means to say here, bila kita develop instrument tadi, mean to say your first very most important thing when you develop instrument is your objective. What is your objective? From your objective to, then you pecah dia. You define the meaning of terms within your objective. You define the meaning of terms to dalam what is the conceptual meaning of the term, what is the operational meaning of the terms in your objective. From that operational definition of the objective, baru you dapat tahu what are the kind of question you can develop for the purpose of the interview. Faham maksud saya tak? Saya ni tak? You really need to understand the definition of terms that you use in every objective. So it is clear. Okay. For example, in one objective ni, you nak tengok persepsi of the students, secondary school students during the time of COVID when they are studying online. I mean to say the persepsi study online. That is the term that you want to break it down into operational definition. So how are you going to operationally define that one? Then you need to break it down. That will help you to identify what are the kind of soalan or the kind of question that you want to use to get answer for your objective number 1. So meaning to say all the question being asked, under that objective, semua will answer to the objective 1. Kalau ada keluar daripada tu, that mean to say not valid, not reliable. There's a question of validity and reliability. Yang tu tanya pasal COVID. Tiba-tiba ada satu soalan tanya pasal benda lain. That nothing to do with COVID, macam kata. Out of context of the COVID punya question. Tak boleh mana benda tu keluar. Now, how are you going to know this? Whether your soalan tu valid and reliable? The first thing is a question of validity. Adakah soalan yang you tanya tu valid or not? This is the first question. Valid or not mean to say, your question that you're gonna ask tadi, memang answer back to the objective number 1 tadi. This is a question to test. Then how do we understand this one? We have to ask our friend about the face validity. What is meant by this question? Kita tanya dia, soalan yang pertama ni, yang you tanya, you faham tak soalan ni? Apa maksud soalan ni? You faham? Cuba you answer back. We have to go down to that extent. Ask them to explain back to us what is meant by this question. Dia jawab. Kalau dia punya jawapan tu lain, bercanggah dengan actually what we want to question in this question, particular question, I mean to say, in term of face validity of that particular question, ada masalah. Tak clear soalan tu. That is what I mean by face validity. That question being asked doesn't really relate to the objective number 1. Doesn't really answer to objective number 1 tadi. There is a question there. There's a problem. Now, then a question of reliability. Reliability meaning to say, there are certain phrase, there are certain terms that we use dalam question, dalam soalan tadi, which maybe has different meaning. in different ethnicity, in different groups of people who are responding to our questionnaire. Ada yang berfikir soalan tadi. Give me an example. Give me an example. Any example of words that might be confusing? Ada ke?
Deviant.
Deviant. Perkataan macam deviant. It could be many things. It could be different. It could be anything. Right?
Yeah.
I mean to say, dia boleh menimbulkan persoalan kepada tu and they might not be able to understand it. Dia punya deviant, understanding of deviant ni, dia ingat macam movie tu dulu, deviant punya tu. Cerita tu kan. So I mean to say, perhaps it gave them different opinions about that particular thing. No, not clear. So when they responded to that question later on, they might come up with different answers that not really like not valid to the question that you really want to ask them.
So Prof, maksud Prof, so we need to use simple words lah supaya informant kita faham dan dapat jawab apa yang kita nak lah, macam tu.
Yes. Informant kita dapat faham apa yang kita nak, soalan yang kita nak jawapan daripada tu. That mean to say, that's why when we do a pre-test ni, kita tak perlu cari the informant yang akan jadi kita punya tu, yang seperti informant. Kita cari kawan-kawan kita yang fasih dalam bahasa saja. Maybe kita cari kawan-kawan kita yang fasih dalam bahasa Melanau. Okay? Kita punya instrumen nanti kita nak interview ni, maybe population of Melanau punya ni, Melanau punya community. Kita cari orang yang fasih dalam bahasa Melanau. Okey, suruh dia vet kita punya soalan-soalan tadi. Takut ada ni yang menimbulkan pelbagai soalan. That's why every question ni suruh dia vet, suruh dia check, go through dulu. Faham Itu dimasukkan pre-test. Yang dimasukkan dengan pilot test ni, okey dah. The first pre-test tadi semua dah okey. Kita dah ada soalan mantap, cun okey dah. Now, kita akan cuba kita punya instrumen ni kepada kumpulan sasaran kita. Orang sasaran. Okay, so carilah satu orang yang maybe boleh kata macam which satisfy the requirement of kita punya informant dalam study kita. So dia jawab soalan tu. Dan bagi komen tentang apa-apa soalan yang dia tak berapa faham ke apa semua. This is how we do the pilot testing. Faham pilot testing macam peringkat tu lah. Dan kita dapat balik tu kita tengok, oh semua ni boleh jawab. Dan jawapan ni semua okey lah berkaitan dengan apa yang kita nak tanya. Okey? Faham Benda ni semua, walaupun kita punya instrument first in English, then when we translate the English instrument into the instrument of your real interview later on, it could be in Chinese, it could be in Iban, it could be in Kenyah or Kelabit, or it could be in Bidayuh, let's say, or in Melanau. Then we have to translate and we have to make sure the validity and reliability again when we translated that. Faham? Now, for this interview, it's not bukan joke, you cannot just simply bagi macam tu instrument, dah, that's it. No, we have to make sure that we conduct the interview dalam bahasa yang dia faham. Dia betul-betul fasih dalam bahasa tu. Because we need responses yang penuh, yang lengkap, yang sedalam-dalamnya. Because you might not be able to get the true meaning of dia punya responses nanti kalau you tak guna bahasa dia sendiri. Dia hanya boleh menggunakan bahasa dia sendiri, only then they will be able to describe apa dia punya, you punya kehendak dalam you punya questionnaire tadi. So he need to be able to respond dalam bahasa yang dia fasih. Then you get the richness of the data, the depthness of the data. Kalau tak nanti, you are the one who fill in the blank. Itu tak boleh. This is a big sin in qualitative research. Mean to say, dia tak cakap macam tu, tapi you agak-agak, oh boleh jadi apa dia cakap ni macam ni. Sebab apa? You're not interviewing them in dia punya language that they are proficient in. Faham maksud saya kat sini tak? Ada student lepas interview. Interview dengan student dalam bahasa Inggeris, level bahasa tinggi, interview. Wah, Tapi bila saya tengok dia punya dapatan daripada kajian tu, responses tu macam very shallow. Kenapa? It's because then the interview was done in English. Dan the people yang dipanggil untuk responded tu dalam interview tu, dia tak berapa fasih dalam bahasa tu. There goes the problem. So, you cannot get away with that. Wah, in qualitative ni, bukan macam kuantitatif. Kuantitatif, you dah state jawapan dia, dah apa macam tu. Sometimes, you boleh get away with that. Because dia akan respon. Cuma nanti dalam kuantitatif pun, bila kita run dia punya kelompok alpha, dan kita tengok, oh, dia punya reliability test only 60%. That tells that the people, the respondent tu, they don't understand the question. Also in quantitative you can detect. But in qualitative also you can detect by the shallowness of the responses of your finding. Tak mencapai. Misalnya kata, semua yang dapatan you tu on the surface saja. Because dia tak menjawab betul-betul dengan menggunakan dia punya pendapat betul-betul. Because dia only scratching the surface. Give you more or less. Sebab dia punya bahasa tu dia guna tu very limited. You see, there is a danger of validity and reliability both in doing the instrument as well as the data you collected later on. It's a question of validity and reliability. Faham semua?
Prof,
Ya.
pilot test dengan pilot study itu sama ke, Prof?
Ya, ada pilot study. Ya, benda yang sama je.
Oh, benar sama.
Tapi kalau biasa pilot ni diguna dalam quantitative study. Kalau digunakan pilot test dalam quantitative study ni mesti minimum 30 orang responden. Tapi sekarang ni ada juga yang kualitatif menggunakan perkataan pilot test, tapi dalam pilot test untuk kualitatif ni 1-2 orang pun dah cukup dah. Tu saya kata tu minimum at least 2 diverse informant yang berbeza. Tapi cari yang diverse, jangan yang sama. Untuk pilot test dengan pre-test ni lah.
Faham.
Faham Because at the end of the day, you punya examiner nanti, dia nak tengok, you punya instrument tu ada test kah? Ada pre-test, ada pilot test kah? Dah buat test kah? Dia nak tengok tu. Of course, lain daripada tu, you boleh include dalam you punya explanation. Yang ni juga dah disupervise oleh my supervisor who is an expert dalam bidang ni. Dia dah check through my instrument. There's another way of increasing the validity and reliability. Menggunakan you punya expert supervisor. Okay, ada question on that one just now? Faham semua dah?
Faham.
Hi, Doctor.
Yeah.
I want to ask if my research is regarding my own students. So I plan to use written questionnaire. Should I compose them in a group and they do it together with me?
Yeah, better.
Yeah. So will my guidance or hint or what will influence their answer or their thinking?
But you have to
Will it be biased?
No, you have to tell them the truth lah. Okay, this is your own personal opinion. There's no right or wrong.
Okay.
You kena cakap tu lah. This is very important dalam the intro to the questionnaire lah. You have to explain to them. You put anything yang you rasa berkaitan dengan tu. It's nothing. There's no right, there's no wrong kat sini. Tak ada markah pun at the end of this one. Tapi you put as much as possible and be honest about what you want to declare inside there, kata. I appreciate whatever opinion.
So I should ask them to write down their name?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Tapi in other case, kalau kata you are known to be too strict to them, you are known to be, teacher that oftentimes punish them because they are not doing their work, ataupun
No, I'm not that type.
they are not behaving, they are not behaving well in class. Then you can use other person, enumerators to collect data for you, tak ada masalah. Don't go in yourself. If you suspect that it is biased, because they sure gonna put up everything good there. If you feel like that, then you get somebody else to stand in on behalf of you.
Okay.
Tak ada masalah. Let them do the data collection instead of you yourself. Because your presence there, dia tengok macam motherly punya tu. Ya, susah. Susah nak cakap apa-apa. Why not get somebody younger ke apa? They feel very open. They can say out what they want to say. You see,
Okay.
this matters, you know. I mean, in qualitative, we try to, when we collect the data, we try to put them in a situation they are very comfortable with. Dia tak perlu takut, dia tak perlu risau. Okay, they just want to share whatever they want to share. I mean, makes a difference, you know. I know if myself is there versus some other people, make a difference. It does make a difference. Not unless I'm very friendly to them. They can say anything to me. You understand what I'm saying here? Yeah, but different people has different kind of style. Not a weakness. It's not just a weakness, but it's just that, like, for our data collection, for our research, we try to get away, get rid of this biasness as much as possible. By all means, because those are the things that we need to write dalam kita punya report nanti. In our final report, we say that we use other person. It's not a weakness. Don't feel like, oh, I'm using other person. I mean to say I'm not capable of doing it. No. Yeah, it's a way of trying to get rid of biasness. And to me, as a researcher, I look at it as, I mean, it's a good strategy to get rid of biasness. Increase the validity and reliability of our finding. Faham, eh? It's not a weakness.
Yeah. Okay.
Even dalam you punya kajian pun, because you are a student doing this one, also kalau you guna orang lain tu, okay. Not every one of us are talented enough, or not every one of us are able to collect data by ourselves in a different community. Maybe we are the worst person to do that. We are not able to speak their language. I mean to say there is already a language barrier. And we get people who are really proficient in that. Interview, check them, find the right person for the job. All right? Faham, eh? Okay, ada lagi soalan? Now, then we go into qualitative methods of data collection. Oh, dah. Ni. Equipment and technology. Untuk qualitative ni, we might have to declare the equipment yang kita gunakan. For example, if we interview people face to face, if we want to do a recording, video or audio recording, we have to get permission from them first. We have to declare, tell them, okay, I mean, the purpose of recording this one, we need to video record this interview. But it is only meant for the purpose of this research only. It's not going to be shown to any other people except by myself only and by my supervisor. It is only will be used only for validation later on if we need to. So we have to declare and tell them, get permission. If they say no, only has to be written record of the interview. Then we have to do a written one only. Then we cannot do a video or audio recording, right? Then also another technology can be used is a website. Maybe we want to collect the data using Google Form. Yeah, so we have to declare all this in our under our methodology section under the topic of equipments and technology. Now, consent form informing the rights of respondent and informant. This one we will have to prepare. Now, your question may be, can I use consent form that has been prepared by other researcher before? Yes, boleh guna. But of course, you need to cite where you copy your consent form. Is it wrong to copy the consent form? Will it reduce my grade from B to A? No, you still get an A. But the honesty is that you need to declare, okay, this one is taken from Shahrin, let's say. It's okay, use it. Word for word also doesn't matter. It's not wrong. Rather than you have to construct everything by yourself. You understand what I'm saying? Why put yourself in difficulty like that? Always in research, we have to acknowledge whatever has been done by other people, we just say so. We declare, okay, this one taken from this study. Yeah. That should be the way. Yeah. Honesty is on you yourself to declare and tell the truth where you borrow this and that. Because it's not everything that we do from scratch. Yeah, if everything that you have, you everything in your research is you are doing it from scratch, no citation, nothing. There's nobody gonna believe that. Nobody gonna believe that. I will be the first one to ask you, all this belongs to your opinion alone or what? Or this one taken from previous study? Nobody will believe that you will be from you, solely from you. So that is where you need to do citation. And the more that you cited, that shows that the more you read. You are a well-read person. When you conduct this research, you read many different uh, documents. All the relevant documents are all listed in your references. That increase the validity, reliability, and the quality of your research. The number of references that you use and the kind of references. Right, and then research process involves step-by-step process from chapter 1 to chapter 5. List down the step-by-step. First, maybe I talk to my supervisor. Then we determine and decide on the topic. I manage to get the topic. Then I go to conduct a literature review. I visited a local library and go to the reference librarian, discuss with the reference librarian and ask for advice on how to do the uh, literature review. I mean, you go step by step. You have to record, do a journal that one on what you are doing for your research. That's what I mean here by step by step. Then research schedules and timeline. You need to come up with a timeline of your research. Projected that time for that date for data collection, projected date for final report, and also for presentation or report. All these need to be listed accordingly and the timeline to be provided. Use Gantt chart to illustrate. And last part there, data analysis using content analysis, thematic analysis, primary analysis, secondary or relational analysis. Right, all these actually, there are different kind here, thematic, primary, secondary. Actually, all these are just under one topic of content analysis. But the way to do that content analysis can be a thematic, can be primary analysis, can be secondary analysis. Right? Okay, ada soalan? Any question? Question?
Yeah, Prof, I have Audrey again.
Yeah.
Regarding the questionnaire for the interview or whatever method lah, how many questions, are there any limit, or maximum or minimum to ask?
Okay, minimum. If you have 5 objective, minimum 5 question.
Just like that.
Mean to say you just convert your objective to a question. There's a minimum lah, 5 question. But normally, those are not enough. You must have probing question in between.
Okay.
So you want to get ready all the question first, right? So you come up with list of probing question, then possible question to ask. So minimum banyak. Minimum has to be macam tu tadi lah, depend on your objective. But maximum, don't know. There's no maximum to that.
Okay. Thanks, Prof.
But you understand? Do you understand what I'm saying or not?
Yeah, with some build-up questions that help to answer the objective questions.
Ya.
Yeah.
Lagi ada soalan lagi lain?
Prof, Fernandez.
Ya.
Kita punya questionnaire, Prof. Kalau kita buat soalan, kalau
Ah.
kita guided dia dengan jawapan ataupun tak ada jawapan, just give the response. Mana yang lebih ini, Prof?
Okay, bagus. Bagus. That's a good question. Because banyak yang buat kesilapan ini. Kita tak boleh bagi dia jawapan. Because that is a sin. Dosa dalam kualitatif. It is a sin in qualitative research. Kita tak boleh. Kita tak boleh bagi leading jawapan pada dia. Jawapan has to be from themselves. That will mean to say ada masalah tu. Masalah pertama dia, perhaps you are doing the interview tu, dia mungkin orang yang tak sesuai untuk di interview sebab dia punya communication skill tak ada ataupun dia tak boleh communicate dengan betul. Dia punya vocab macam kata very limited. Dia punya understanding of the subject matter tu kurang macam kata. Dia menyebabkan dia tak boleh jawab dengan betul-betul tu. And you have to fill in the blank. Bila you give the answer to them, mean to say you are filling in the blank tu. And you are spitting answers into their mouth. And there is a sin in qualitative. We shouldn't do that. We shouldn't do that. Sebab it become our opinion rather than dia punya opinion. Because there are flaws just now. Mungkin satu language of the interview itu bukan dalam language dia proficient, ataupun in terms of subject or informant yang dipilih tu, dia bukan the right person yang sepatutnya dipanggil dalam interview ni. Dia tak berapa proficient dalam apa kita nak tanya. To the extent that we have to get ready answers for them. Tak perlu jawapan semua. Kalau kata yang informant yang kita pilih tadi memang betul orang yang informant tu. Kecuali terjadi sesuatu perkara. Misal kata, we want to interview a person. Dia bisu, misal kata. Dia involved dalam fenomena yang kita nak kaji tu. Misal kata, dia seorang pekerja dalam organisasi awam yang bekerja. Tapi dia juga ada, apa dipanggil? OKU. Mana dia daripada golongan yang special. Kita nak kaji dia. Tapi kita guna teknik interview, dia tak boleh jawab interview kita. Tapi then, kalau tak boleh jawab interview, kita boleh guna writing, cara tulisan. Dia tak boleh guna sebab dia bisu. Dan kita guna tulisan. Ataupun kita boleh tanya dia. Verbal, kita tanya verbal, dia mesti jawab ke? Guna tulisan. Dia sendiri yang tulis. Kita tak boleh tulis, tanya dia, macam ni ke jawapan you? Bolehkah? Tak boleh macam tu. Tak boleh macam tu. Tapi ada satu teknik research yang dipanggil Q-sort. Dipanggil Q-sort. Nama teknik research tu. Saya tak ajar dalam ni lah. Tapi saya pernah belajar dulu dalam masa saya buat PhD dulu. Ada satu teknik research yang panggil Q-sort tu. Q-sort tu menggunakan teknik jawapan ni semua kita sediakan. Jawapan semua kita sediakan. Lepas tu yang menjawab tu dia pilih mana jawapan yang lebih sesuai untuk dia. Tapi dia betul kualitatif lah. Tapi kita gunakan Q-sort punya teknik tu. Saya tak ajar dalam ni sebab saya rasa benda ni banyak ada bias juga. Okay. So I mean it's better not to discuss about that technique, nanti you confuse nanti lah. Okay, Fernandez alright Saya punya jawapan tu. This one memang banyak kesilapan researcher kualitatif adalah macam tu. Dia fill in the blank. Saya banyak hantar student saya juga ikut pergi luar bandar lah. Ada yang buat interview, ada yang buat guna questionnaire, quantitative questionnaire. This is where kita dapatilah the first problem yang di-face by them adalah dia tak berapa fasih dengan bahasa yang lokal. So for those enumerators saya panggil orang yang collect data tu yang tak berapa fasih dengan local punya dialect tu, saya suruh dia orang ambil quantitative data saja. Hanya yang betul-betul fasih dengan local dialect tu saya boleh gunakan untuk interview tadi. So I have to be very careful dalam yang ni lah. So kalau kita sendiri tak fasih dalam local dialect tadi sama. Kita boleh guna orang yang fasih dalam local dialect tu untuk interview on behalf of kita. Rather than we try to fill in the blank tadi. Boleh Okay. Ada soalan lagi? Ini ada question. That's a good question to ask. Ada lagi soalan? Ya. Ya, Mak Fuad.
Nak tanyalah, contoh kan kalau kita buat questionnaire, responden tu maksimum berapa? Macam
Dia tak ada maksimum lah. Because dalam kualitatif dalam kualitatif tadi kan kita nak dapat responses sebanyak mungkin dari segi satu orang per orang yang kita dapat interview tadi, sebanyak mungkin, sedalam mungkin. So misalnya kata satu topik lah, kita contoh saya bagi satu topik mengenai pengalaman dikurung masa karantin lah, masa karantin COVID. Kita nak tahulah pengalaman seseorang tu dikurung masa karantin COVID tu. Kita interview berdasarkan kita kita tujuan maybe maksimum kita afford lah dengan kita punya dana ataupun dengan kita punya effort ni, energy kita cuma 10 orang lah kita katakan. Most banyak kali 10. Tapi kalau kata untuk tujuan masters ataupun PhD kita kena pastikan 20 lah, 20 orang. Okay, 20 orang. For the purpose of untuk tujuan macam learning science class ni 10 orang dah memadai. 10 orang plus minus 2 orang. Mana plus orang mana minimum tu 8. ataupun tambah 12 pun okey. Yang menentukan the number of responses, respondent yang kita nak interview tadi, bukan bukan tu je. Kita nak pastikan bahawa kita apa yang kita dapat ni adalah mencukupi. Misal kata kita buat interview yang pertama tadi kan. Kita buat questionnaire yang pertama, kita dah dapat jawapan, kita dapat balik jawapan daripada informan yang pertama tadi. Okey. Dan kita tanya yang kedua, dan kita dapat jawapan daripada informan yang kedua. Kita bandingkan daripada dua dengan satu tadi, ada beza ke tak dia punya jawapan. Oh, nampak ada beza.
Oh,
Ada beza tu. Mana yang kedua ni lain dia punya jawapan daripada yang satu. Okey, cantik. Dan kita interview yang ketiga. Interview yang ketiga nampak macam ada tambahan sikit. Tapi yang lain-lain jawapan dia sama je dengan yang dulu. Ada tambahan sikit. Okey, dan carry on lagi keempat. Keempat masih ada beza sikit je tambahan daripada yang lain-lain tadi. Okey, still carry on. Yang kelima. Yang kelima dan kita interview tengok dapatan dia sama dengan yang dapatan 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tadi more or less sama. Dia tak sama semua dengan yang keempat, tapi sama dengan yang satu dan kedua. Misal kata contoh lah. Tapi tak ada benda baru dah. Semua benda ini dah dikata oleh informan-informan lain tadi. Okay, mean to say, dekat masa yang kelima tu, dah ada point of tak ada benda baru. Dia kita ambil yang keenam. Yang keenam tu memang tak ada sah, tak ada benda baru dah. Sama yang lama-lama. Yang ketujuh macam tu. Yang ke-8 dah sama macam tu juga. Berhenti lah.
oh, okay.
Dan kita berhenti yang kenapa tak guna lagi. You ambil lagi sampai 10 pun tak ada lagi benda baru dah. That's
Oh, okay.
point of saturation tadi. Mana ada saturation, mana kita dah mencukupi. Tak ada benda baru dah. Despite apa yang kita cari yang pelbagai daripada yang berbangsa Cina. Tadi yang mula-mula first one daripada Cina, yang kedua Melayu, yang ketiga yang Iban, yang keempat yang Melanau, yang kelima yang Bidayuh, lepas tu yang orang Ulu lagi. Semua jawapan dah. Tak ada benda baru dah. Sama aje.
Oh, okay.
Itu maksud dia lah.
Oh, okay. Okay,
Alright.
Prof. Terima kasih.
Okay, sama. So, ada lagi soalan yang lain?
Prof,
Ha.
ini Alan. So, research schedules and timeline. Kita adakah itu kita pakai Gantt chart adalah kemestian ataupun pakai jadual sendiri? Boleh create jadual sendiri?
Boleh guna Excel pun boleh. You
So, macam mana nak
senaraikan belah kiri tu satu kolom, you buat dia punya step tu. Step by step tu. Dan sebelah kanan tu, then you list bila tarikh mesti selesai. Bila tarikh mesti selesai. Pun contoh as simple as that pun boleh. 2 kolom je. 3 kolom ke 2 kolom ke boleh. Yang kolom ketiga maybe you letakkan siapa yang in charge, siapa yang perlu dikontak pun boleh. This is kita punya timeline and schedule tu.
kalau pakai Word dapat tu?
Pakai Word pun boleh, tapi Word guna table format lah. Jangan kita tulis saja.
Okay.
Guna table format supaya jelas. Kalau kita guna tulis macam tu saja, macam orang baca pun tak berapa jelas. You sendiri baca pun you tak faham mungkin. Sebab whatever we do here, we have to consider about the reader. Orang yang akan baca nanti dia faham ke tak? Simple. Tapi kalau nak kata guna Gantt chart, tu canggih. Ada online, free Gantt chart pun ada. Nak guna, isi je. Alright? Boleh Yang penting sekali step by step tu. Chapter 1 apa step yang you kena buat. Chapter 2 apa step kena buat. 3, 4, 5. Kalau guna chapter macam tu lagi mudah lah. Mana chapter 1 ni kena selesai within this time frame. Chapter 2 masuk di time frame ni. Dan pecahan dia lagi. Dalam chapter 2 literature review. Go to library research daripada tarikh ni ke tarikh ni. Lepas tu online. Tarikh ni ke tarikh ni. Boleh
Boleh, Prof.
Alright. Tapi janganlah you punya schedule and timeline ni satu saja. Okay, saya punya research akan bermula daripada Januari dan akan berakhir masa Julai. Full stop. Presentation Julai. Start research Januari. 2 je. Jangan
Pernah buat, Prof. Pernah buat perkara macam tu juga. Saya pernah buat mistake tertentu juga, Prof.
Mana boleh macam tu. Kita nak tahu bila data collection tu. Bila buat tu analisis. Okay. Sebab kalau kita buat research betul-betul, kita nak apply grant apa semua, timeline ni very important tau. Because macam sekarang ni lah, saya buat research untuk state government. Buat master plan untuk Sri Aman ni, kita ada timeline tu. Dalam masa Februari, misalnya kata Februari to March tu, kita kena present proposal dulu. Then after March, April, by April dengan Julai tu preliminary kita punya data collection dulu kepada ground data collection tu apa yang kita dapat tu. Then and so on and so forth lah. Dan sekarang ni kita sekarang come up with the planning stage, and then the last part is the apa yang kita propose untuk Sri Aman tu lah. This is the part we are doing now. How much will it costing apa semua, then we have to put into place. This one, that's why the timeline is very important, because at various stages tu kita kena lapor balik kepada state government kita punya progress tu. They look at that timeline tu, very very important. Tapi sekarang ni with this kind of COVID punya masalah, everything got delayed. Especially when we go to the ground to meet certain stakeholders, ada masalah. Tak dibenarkan lah, macam-macam lagi. Okay. Is that clear about that timeline and schedules? It's very, very important in research.
Yes.
Okay, ada soalan on this analysis? I think we need to go through this one until we just come up with a class exercise and then we learn how to do this analysis. It's a simple way of doing it. Okay? Boleh, Now, deliverables. This is actually the last part of the class. Deliverables required for data collection. Now, letter to department head or CEO to request for permission to conduct research. Yang ni tak boleh lari daripada ni. Kita mesti tulis surat minta permission. This is part of the ethic of doing research. Kita kata, kita ni nak buat research dalam faculty of cognitive sciences. Betul-betul formal research lah ni. Untuk kita punya final year project. Kena buat surat ke? Yes, you kena buat surat. Tapi kalau kata untuk kelas exercise ni, perlu surat ke? Ni tak perlulah. Okay. Tapi kalau kelas exercise ni, untuk benda yang betul-betul formal, perlu ke formal punya letter? Perlu formal tu. If you have to deal with ketua masyarakat ke apa semua, then we have a formal letter. Kalau tak perlulah. Faham Then informed consent tu yang mesti ada. Every research before the interview, kita kena baca informed consent tu dulu. Because the informant tu have to know the rights. Untuk apa yang dia punya rights. Itu penting tu. Dia boleh, misalnya kata, in the middle of interview, boleh tak dia keluar, dia tak nak? Boleh. Kalau dia rasa macam tak selesa. Soalan kita lain macam soalan kita. Dia rasa macam, aduh, tak nak sambung. Kata dia rasa soalan kita, ingat tadi sekejap, setengah jam, ni makan masa 3 jam, 5 jam tak selesai. Dia nak keluar. Boleh ke tak? Boleh. Dia punya rights. That's why informed consent dia perlu. Then instrument in the language familiar to the respondent, informant. Itu kena ada. Instrument in the language familiar to the respondent. Lepas tu descriptions of samples and sampling framework. Tiada. And then schedules for data collection. Bila kita nak buat data collection, it has to be very clear. We have to inform the informant bila kita nak collection of data nanti. Jangan kata kita janji on such and such and date kita nak visit dia, lepas tu kita never buat visit tu. Kita tukar. These are the things that not just injure yourself, tapi also the institution macam UNIMAS. Apalah student UNIMAS, dia kata janji datang tak datang. Bukan dia marah kat you, dia akan marah UNIMAS juga. Dia kata UNIMAS tak betul. Student UNIMAS semua jadi tak betul, just because of one fault. So these are the things that we need to take care of. Alright, that's it. Any soalan lagi? Soalan? Ada soalan ke? Tak ada. About other students, is there any question? Alright, ada ke?
Ya, saya nak tanya pasal yang submission kita tu, individual and group assignment kan. Yang saya macam ada yang nak kurang yakin. Jadi saya rasa nak tanya.
Pasal macam mana?
Pasal terutamanya bahagian problem statement. Saya macam kurang pasti bagaimana buat problem statement. Boleh saya share saya punya slide kemudian yang Prof
saya.
kan? Atau Prof sudah
Boleh, you can share after this lah. After this.
okay.
After break nanti kita share lah. That's why saya tengok you all punya responses tadi memang you all kata masalah dekat literature review. Masalah dekat problem statement tu mana masalah literature review lah tu.
Some mereka okay.
It's a problem because you have problem in the literature review, therefore you cannot identify the problems. Because the problems, the statement of problem came from the literature review. It's the outcome of the literature review. Outcome of objective 1, apa problem statement ya? Outcome of objective 2, apa problem statement ya? And so on. So this is how the problem statement has to be related to the objective. If you ask me macam mana saya tahu, saya selalu lapor student punya problem statement ni weak. I use the language weak lah. Because the way I do that one, I look at your objective first before I go and read your problem statement. Saya cari punya objective dulu, objective 1, then I cari dalam problem statement. Ada tak anything to do that implicate in your problem statement saying that there is a need to do this particular topic of this particular subject matter. Kalau tak ada makna, nothing related to objective 1. Then I go for objective 2. You faham maksud saya tak? This is how I check your statement of problem. If nothing related to the objective at all, mean to say, what is the purpose of your problem statement? You are talking about all other problem, but nothing related to your objective or your study. I mean to say it has no value.
I think and how to I am confused with problem statement dengan limitation. Ini yang saya nak tanya juga Prof. Saya rasa macam dua.
Problem statement macam mana? And
problem statement and limitations. Apa? Limitation of study.
Limitation of the study is what are the things that you are not going to do in your study. You understand? You are listing down what are the things that you are not going to do in your study.
Prof, saya menjelaskan berkenaan dengan limitation. Adakah kita bagi tahu kita fokus kepada satu-satu isu itu dan kita tidak fokus kepada perkara lain, boleh tak?
Ya, betul lah. Karena you kata you delimit you punya study tu kepada isu tu saja. You tak nak bincang perkara lain. You tak akan bincang perkara lain dalam you punya study ni. Takut nanti kita punya pembaca fikir, kita ni akan membuat sesuatu, bincang mengenai sesuatu yang menyeluruh mengenai isu. Yang sebenarnya kita tak. Kita hanya melihat pada masalah COVID yang dihadapi oleh anak-anak kita yang belajar di sekolah saja, yang belajar di rumah. Kita tengok isu tu saja. Kita tak tengok isu parent. Kita tak tengok isu tenaga pengajar. Cikgu kita tak tengok. Kita hanya tengok pada pelajar saja. That is limitasi tu.
Maksudnya kita perlu mention juga, kita perlu nyatakan juga apa-apa yang kita tak masuk kepada bab-bab yang tidak berkenaan.
Yeah, it is very very professional to do that. Sebab orang yang baca tu tahu. Bermakna dia kalau kata dia nanti dia baca you punya kajian ni dah you buat, dalam dia punya literature review dia akan mention dalam kajian daripada siapa nama tadi? Rozimi.
Ya, saya.
Daripada kajian dibuat daripada Rozimi ni, dia hanya mengkajikan pelajar saja. Dia tidak mengkajikan cabaran daripada ibu bapa dan guru dalam kajian dia. Jadi dalam kajian akan datang tu dibuat, dia akan merangkumi guru dan parent. It's very important. It's very important kita kena declare limitasi tu.
Okay, proceed Tuan. Sorry, interrupt.
Okay, Kuan,
Yeah.
now you understand that limitation is the limitation of your research. Now, in the problem
Not the
statement tadi,
limitation.
ah,
Oh,
in the
so
problem statement tadi, you use the limitation from other people's study and implicate it. Okay, that study done by other people, they don't do this and this, so therefore, in my study, I'm going to study this one.
so that says statement is our problem statement, right?
Yeah,
Not
that's
limitation.
yeah, it's not limitation. There is problem statement because you are using the limitation from other people's study. Ah, be-
Oh, so it's related lah, but I use others people limitations as my problem statement.
yes, yes. You use
But
other
then
people.
in my study, I have my own limitation. For example, limited
That one is that one is to
people.
okay. That one not to be put in your problem statement. That one is to be put in your study limitation.
Oh, okay, 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 okay,
All right.
okay, okay. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other question? Any other question? Okey, kalau nak tanya lah, saya punya credibility dalam buat paper research ni apa semua. Kalau nak tanya, apa credibility? How much have I published? Okey, at the moment, kalau you tengok saya punya record, saya dah 2 kali menang apa tu? Anugerah in Unimas lah. Yang apa tu? Yang banyak sekali publish. Study dalam Index Impact Factor Journal. 2 tahun dah. Sekali dalam tahun 2018, sekali recently dalam tahun 2021. So they mean to say what I'm sharing with you is not based on nonsense ataupun just based on theory apa semua. This is really based on practical knowledge. Faham? I mean, I hope you have that confidence lah because you know why? Different researcher ni, different people have different opinion because they came from different school of thought. That's why I have to establish my credentials tadi. So they mean to say, I'm not just saying this one for the sake of just, these are just theory ke apa. No. I'm saying it because it's factual. Faham maksud saya?
Yeah, thanks, Prof.
Okay. I just want to instill confidence in you that, okay, trust what I say lah, despite other researcher might say different thing. Because they came from different school of thought. But whether proven or not, I don't know. But myself is proven. That's it. Because at the end of the day, whether your whatever you do is a professional, is correct or not, depend on are you able to publish your work and in which journal? Is that impact factor journal, reputable journal, or just a normal journal? Wait, there is no impact factor at all. If you just put in just normal journal, you can publish. Yeah, maybe you can publish. Tapi the standard of what you have published is not up to that particular standard lah. Masih ada question lagi? Okay. Alright. Now sekarang ni dah pukul 12 Jun. We take a break first. Actually at 1 o'clock I have to, my student daripada undergraduate, dia ada exam. I have to conduct the exam also. But before that maybe we have a bit of time to discuss lah before I have to entertain my undergraduate student nanti. So we take a break of about 10 minutes, boleh?
Okay, Prof.
Okay, boleh.
Okay, we take a break of 10 minutes. We're coming back at 12:10.
Okay.
Okay. Kita recording ni ada ke?
Ada.
Oh. Okay, mana kumpulan? Or individual, kalau you nak your individual that want to be, it's also okay. Tak ada masalah. Everyone can do the screen sharing.
Oh, sekarang share kah, Prof?
You share, I mean, share whatever you want to share. So that we can discuss and other people can learn out of it.
Okay, then maybe I share our group assignment, maybe.
Okay, boleh.
Okay, this is our group.
Okay.
I hope my line is okay because I'm at Matang now. I hope the line is okay. So this is
Perception MSc Learning Science students on online learning. Okay.
and then the introduction and background. To introduce about the online learning because of the COVID-19 pandemic.
Okay.
So that is why we have online classes,
Yeah.
not in physical classes.
Yeah. Okay.
And then we come up with one statement.
Never been taught fully online before, therefore there is a need to study. You see, this particular one, your statement of problem here, I'll read this one. I mean to say this is just a statement from you, but not a statement based on literature review. It's different.
Oh.
For an applied study, that's why I say it better be individual. For an applied study, this is okay.
So for to fulfill the group assignment, this is okay, is it?
Yeah, but then again, you kata di sini lah, has never been taught fully online before. Therefore, there is a need to study the perception of machine learning science student on online learning. But this is just preamble to your statement of problem. Okay, but it's not big enough, not really deep enough. What actually are the problems that you want to find out? This is too general.
Oh. Okay.
Now, show your objective.
To identify the elements of online learning environments that the students recognize as a resourceful in the learning process, and also the difficulty. And we would like to identify their learning experience and performance.
To identify the elements of learning, of online learning. Okay. How do you operationally define this element?
Content analysis, maybe.
No. How do you define that? How do you define these elements? The meaning of these elements?
You put the element, is it regarding the online resources? No, the tools kah?
I don't know. Because you see, this is how you refine your objective. If you find problem in trying to interpret this, that means to say you're gonna have problem later on.
Okay, we need to spell out lah.
Yes, that's why I am highlighting here possible that you need to define operational definition. What is operational definition of this element?
I think, yeah. I think I have that one. Wait, sorry. Is it regarding this? Oh, yeah. I did not spell. I did not mention it. I just did write in general.
Yeah. Otherwise, go back to your objective there. Okay. Because you want to know here, identify the elements of learning, of online learning environments. You see, are you studying the elements or environment? Online learning environment that the MSc Learning Science student recognize as resourceful. You see, to me, it's not clear what you're trying to get here. There's so many variables set here. One is element, another one is learning environment, another one is recognition as resourceful in the learning process. There's another one is learning process. This is not just learning, learning process. How are you going to operationally define here? If you say want to ask question, what are the question that you're going to ask for your
Is the first objective macam very vague ka, Prof?
very
Is that
vague?
what you mean ka?
I tak dapat tangkap ni. If I come up with question for interview untuk ni, apa saya nak tanya ni?
Oh, okay. What if we put to identify a resourceful online learning environment?
Okay, still again ada masalah sebab you see the subject matter dalam tu ada dua perkara. Satu learning environment, satu you kata resourceful.
We make it simple. Advantages. What is the advantages of online learning? Macam tu boleh tak, Prof?
Okay.
Kalau advantages of online learning, how do you define that advantages dulu? Operational definition. Ya, memang it is mudah. Advantages could be anything that benefit the learner. This is how you decide. Okay. Now, because this one, learning environment is a different variable ni. Kalau learning variable ni, bermakna you akan tanya, what is the learning environment that is conducive to the learner? Kan?
Oh, kan?
Ya kan?
Apa learning environment conducive? Itu satu soalan. You nak kaji learning environment. Whether the learning environment is conducive or not. Itu satu. Lepas tu, recognize as resourceful. You kata resourceful. Resourceful maksudnya resourceful. How do you operationally define this resourceful?
Susah sikit.
And then how do you define learning process? This is not just learning, or this is learning process. In the process of learning, not overall learning.
Okay.
Salah lagi takut.
Ya, saya hypnot. Itulah saya perlu tanya, Prof. Yes, thank you so much.
Okay, then what?
So we have to focus one of the element only, is it?
No, this
Whether or not
you
the environment.
make your objective as simple as possible. Kalau boleh, satu objektif, satu variable only. Jangan sampai 2-3 variable dalam tu.
Satu objektif, satu variable. Okay.
Okay.
Jangan sampai double, triple barrel dalam tu.
7 palak berkabut masa ya, Prof. Ya, macam-macam keluar. Okay.
Number 2, to identify difficulties of online learning that are faced by MSc Learning Science student.
Macam ni, one variable kan, Prof?
Yang ni okay lah, difficulties saja. Okay, difficulties of online learning. Faced by MSc Learning Sciences student. You kena sekarang ni, you cuba masalah ni, you cuba kaitkan dengan online learning saja ni. Mana jawapan nanti has to be confined to the online learning. Whatever preparation offline ke apa, tak termasuk lah maksud you ni.
Online learning is defined as synchronous and asynchronous mode.
Just synchronous and asynchronous.
Dua.
That's why you have to define this term semua ni. Difficulties ni apa, online learning ni apa, lepas tu MSc Learning Science student ni tak apalah, ni graduate student lah kan. You kena define as student dia. So you kena define ni. When you define this one clearly, then you understand what it mean by your objectives ni. Kalau that you tak understand, tapi ini quite okay lah sebab satu variable nak tengok difficulties ni saja.
Okay, I see the problem now.
Okay, number 3 ni, to identify how MSc Learning Science student describe their experience and performance in online learning. Okay.
Nampak. Okay. We know now.
Now, what do you mean by experience ni? It's a big thing. How do you operationally define this experience?
How, Kuan?
Kita tak tahu lagi kan kerana nak identify kan mereka yang cakap nanti interview and then we. Okay,
let me guide you. Okay. Experience satu, performance tu satu. Pisahkan.
Ah,
Jangan letak bersama. Okay, ni sekarang ni tu you nak tahu experience. Macam mana experience of learning science student dalam online learning ni saja. Experience ni saja. Now, how do I operationally define experience ni? I will operationally define experience ni dengan preparation before class, semasa kelas apa yang dihadapi dan selepas kelas tu apa yang dihadapi. Awal semester dan hujung semester. You see, this operational definition of this experience besar.
Yalah kan.
It involved the whole experience for the whole semester. They all mean to say macam mana teaching online tu, synchronous teaching tu macam mana, asynchronous experience dia macam mana. You have to divide those experiences. Macam mana online assessment pun under experience. Nanti assessment macam mana buat exam online. You have to ask separate question based on experience of that assessment.
Okay. Mungkin pilih satu kot kalau macam tu.
Okay, so
No, I mean, I'm not saying that it's wrong. It's okay. Tapi how you operationally define experience tu is very important in this research because it tells the reader that by experience it mean everything that the student face dalam kelas online ni. Dari beginning of the semester sampai hujung semester. Dari kelas attending the class, masuk buat online workshop discussion, sampai online assessment and also online presentation at the end of the semester. Semua komponen ni mesti ada dalam jawapan tu, dalam soalan nanti.
Prof, is it possible that our group research target of experience only? I think it's quite wide enough if experience alone or how?
I mean, it's a big thing. Ya, tapi experience saja. Tapi then difficulties tadi pun kena pecah juga. Difficulty dari segi apa? Off class ke, on class ke, during class ke, online ke, synchronous ke, asynchronous. You see the definition, the operational definition of difficulty. Difficulty ini bukan one difficulty tanya soalan, oh what's the difficulty, full stop. No. If you only ask one question like that, you're gonna get a simple answer also. You see, this is the danger of qualitative research. You must ask a question based on your operational definition of difficulties. Okay, by difficulties, my operational definition ni merangkumi semua tadi aspek. Termasuk assessment, termasuk online class, termasuk offline class, termasuk asynchronous also. Setiap tu tanya, apa soalan?
Kena spesifik, nyatakan semua lah.
Yes, this is qualitative. Jangan main-main.
so the objective kat Sia sebenarnya okay, but we have to make it specific dekat definition of terms lah. Maksud kita nak, Prof?
Yes, I'm just telling you, teaching you now dua. Connection of this objective and the definition of term. Now berbalik daripada objektif tadi kepada statement of problem. Saya baca ni ada 3. Satu, first one ni adalah online environment punya, conducive on environment. Yang kedua tadi on difficulties, yang ketiga on experience. Balik kepada statement of problem tadi. Mana tu yang 3 tu? Where are they?
Okay, hilang semua.
None of them mentioned here. You should mention here that you believe on student yang belajar online banyak difficulty faced by them. Difficulty dalam difficulty dalam itu, difficulty. Tapi we are not certain yet. We need to conduct this study. Then we really know what is the difficulty of the students starting from the beginning of the semester sampai hujung semester taking the exam. Then you talk about masalah experience of the student also we don't know. So we need the student to share their whole experience. Then you come with this objective.
Ya, Prof, saya sebenarnya faham macam ni. Itu sebab saya buat macam ni. Kita group macam ni. Perception ini, yang definition of term kan, kita identify dia sebagai macam ni. Student perception and online learning. And then all the things that Prof mentioned just now, apa difficulty kah, experiences dan sebagainya, semua under perception. Sebenarnya boleh tak macam ni kita group?
Ya, yang ni you buat definition of term tadi kan? Tapi definition of operational definition you masih tak cukup seperti apa yang saya kata tadi.
Jadi kena tambah di sini lah kan?
That's why dalam buat definition of term ni bukan suka-suka hati je. That is related to your study betul-betul.
Oh, okay.
Apa you nak study dalam objektif nanti?
So Prof, the problem statement, according to our objective, if it is 3 objective, the problem statement must be minimum 3, is it, to state the problem?
Dalam problem statement, tak semestinya. At least ada satu yang betul-betul menunjukkan bahawa you nak buat ni. Ni satu pun tak ada kena. Dalam you punya statement problem. Tak ada mention apa pun benda tu.
Okay.
So very weak lah bagi saya. Itu yang maksud saya very weak statement of problem. So kalau you tengok the way I look at this one, how I read your this one, from the statement of problem, from your definition of term, saya dah tahu dah you punya study ni, ni cincai punya study lah. Tak betul-betul.
Sedihnya.
You understand what I mean from my perspective.
Yeah.
It is obvious. It is obvious to me that this is still very weak. Need guidance. This is where the guidance of your supervisor is very important. Dia boleh able to pick up all those small things ada. Kalau dia tak boleh pick up, I mean to say, dia pun 2 kali 5 10 juga.
Okay. So, ini sama sajalah. Ini ialah research question yang daripada objektif.
Ini buang hipotesis ni. Tak perlu hipotesis ni. Just research question. Ni soalan je. Convert that one to soalan. Now, going back to your objective just now. Going back to your objective. Boleh tak saya tambahkan soalan? Maybe pecahkan soalan. Number 2 tu misal kata. Difficulties tu. Dalam difficulty tu terus saya pecah. Difficulty dari segi ni. This one. Difficulty in terms of assessment. Difficulty of that one. Boleh ke tak? Yes. Better. Boleh. That tells the reader immediately, oh, you are looking at these difficulties. Then you are also looking at these experiences of the student. Bukan just the word experience satu tanpa seketul macam ni. And then for the reader to try to interpret themselves. Faham tak maksud saya ni? Then you can tell the reader, by experience here we mean experience dari segi online class, experience dari segi assessment yang diguna dalam kelas, experience dari segi kelas presentation. Then you already guide your reader specifically into what you wanted here. Faham
Ya, faham. Thank you.
Yeah. So your objective can be very simple, it can be very specific. But the better will be it is specific so that nanti easier for you to do your data collection and your focus of the study very simple also. Because all this one, apa yang akan buat dalam kelas ni, automatically will tell the reader also apa you tak akan buat. You know, on the limitation nanti automatically you know, okay, we only do this experience. Under this topic of experience, we only cover experience in terms of online learning and then offline learning using asynchronous method and then also on assessment method used in the class. Those are experience. Other thing tak termasuk dalam ni. Misalnya kata the limitation of the lecturer, limitation in term of technology. That one, those are experience tak ada. You see, all these are interconnected. Whatever you put in the objective automatically will tells you also what are the limitation of your study.
Regarding limitation kita buat macam ini. Okay.
Okay. This study is limited to study student perception of online learning only, not teachers, not parents, not any other stakeholders. So itulah, just to be that one, exact.
Yes.
Methodological. This one actually based on what I said just now lah. Dalam topik you mungkin you limit in term of the objective tu. You kena explain tu juga. Since COVID-19 is a new pandemic, a review of the research has shown no available studies about MSc learning in COVID period. Why you need to show it there? That one sounds like statement of problem.
Itu yang saya confused lah, Prof.
Why you have to say this year? There's nothing
So,
to...
ini sebenarnya since COVID-19 is a new pandemic, ini sebenarnya letak di bawah statement of problem kah?
Boleh masuk di bawah sana.
Bukan di bawah limitation kah?
Why you're not? This is not you not you limiting. Under limitation is what are your limit. Bukan other people limit. This is the limitation in your study.
Okay.
So it has no meaning when you put it here. This study will focus only on cohort 17. That one is okay. Data collection will be done by May 2021 only, on that date only. That is limitation, not on other dates. Okay, the take off the one, since the 19 is a new pandemic, a review of the situation, no, yeah, that one is not here. Yeah, wrong place.
Okay, wrong place.
Okay, apa lagi nak tunjuk?
Saya rasa itu saja. Yang lain.
Okay, I mean other that one, other group, faham Ada faham ke?
Okay, thank you, Prof.
Okay. Now you know how to improve that already, right?
Yeah. I learned a lot. Thanks.
Hi, Doctor.
Okay.
Will you suggest us to interview all of the cohort 70 or we selectively like a few?
Like I said just now, you can do a focus group also can. If you don't want to do individual interview. But you can also do using open-ended questionnaire. Like us, hold a group discussion, maybe the whole class, they call them to do for online like this, and then put it to them, or you can use also WhatsApp, and then ask them to fill up the questionnaire, and that's it. Sudah. Tak susah kan?
Tak. Much easier than interview.
Easier.
Thank you.
Okay, and other groups mau share? Because when you share, you will learn something from that.
Grup kami, Prof.
Yeah, okay.
Kena cari. Okay.
Okay, besarkan sikit. Perspective of teachers toward online teaching during the COVID-19 pandemic. Okay. Alright.
Okay.
Tengok you punya tu.
Okay, ini introduction kami orang.
Mana introduction, background tak ada.
Introduction and background.
Ya, you kena cerita kat sekolah mana yang ni akan dikaji ataupun senario lah sekarang ni. Senario pandemic apa semua. In the background tu kena cerita sikit. Right? Education has changed in the you kena cerita lah. Cerita in the background ni cerita about pandemic, COVID, how it affected people's life. Then only you come out with statement of problem implicating the limitation in previous research subject to teachers punya experience during the COVID-19 pandemic. Mana you punya statement of problem?
Statement of problem is
Online teaching highly dependent on internal connection. So condition urge the teacher to do extra effort to make sure that the learning session accepted by all students. Limited real-world experience and practical teaching made the student lack of deeper understanding regarding the student that has been conducted. The limited research available regarding teachers' readiness with online reteaching. No, all your statement of problem here, you don't put into context of, so what? So what? My question is, so what? That is the thing that not answered here. Even the first part here, you say online teaching highly dependent on internal connection. This has nothing to do with statement of problem. Because there is no connecting word there at the end of it. No explaining word. Why this one is there? Why this statement is there? So the condition urge the teacher to do extra effort to make sure that the learning session accepted by all students. What is that? What is the subject matter in this one? What is the issue here? That extra effort? Then you explain. So because of that, we need to understand what are the extra efforts made by the teachers. If you say like that, then I understand why this statement is here. Faham, Faham, okay. There is a second one here. Limited real-world experience and practical teaching made the student lack of deeper understanding. What is this? Is this based on citation? If it is based on citation, you need to cite from where? If it is based on you punya perception, tak betul. You can only use maybe there because you have not done a research on this one. You cannot say this statement. You can only say this statement in a way that it's just maybe. Maybe limited real-world experience and practical teaching made the student lack of deeper understanding regarding subject that have been taught that one. You're not sure about this one because you have not conducted a research on this. So therefore, I expected when you came up with this one, you need to put a citation there. From who? Maybe from Shahrin 2021 there. You said at least it was said by him. Limited real world experience and practical teaching made students lack of deeper understanding regarding the subject that have been conducted. Because this is online, right? Based on online, based on what I said. So therefore, there is a need. Ada sambung lagi this sentence. There is a need to find out whether there is truth in this one. Faham?
So that means we can use yang citation dalam statement of government kan, Prof?
Boleh citation from other studies, tapi kita kata kita nak kaji ni balik. Kita nak tengok whether this same situation applies in Malaysia in UNIMAS or not, especially among the cognitive science students. So we want to use that same objective later on in this study. You see how you work this one is very important. That tells the reader that there is an issue here because is the finding from previous study. Not sure whether the student here will feel the same or not. So therefore, we want to study this particular thing again because this study is still new. Only one study in the past that was done by Shahrin is done this one. Only one study. So we want to conduct another study to see whether this is true or not in UNIMAS. And
Thanks.
the third one here, the limited research available regarding teachers' readiness with online teaching. Maybe you say that therefore, there's the question that therefore there is a need to do a study on teachers' readiness for online teaching. Tu, that part of the argument statement tu tak ada. Okay? Faham eh? You tak boleh hanging statement macam ni. Faham eh? This is the reason why saya kata tadi, or the reason why I say, kalau nak buat statement of problem ni, better be in the language you are proficient in. Barulah you dapat goreng tu. Kalau you nak buat dalam buat dalam English, maybe your English vocab tak cukup, then it doesn't make sense to you macam mana nak buat sambung ni, nak buat explanation ni lagi, susah. Tapi you kalau buat dalam English, saya boleh, goreng ni boleh. ha. Saya baca ni saya tahu lah, saya kata, ni lemah dia punya statement of problem ni. Okay, next. You punya objektif macam mana? Mana ada? Ni satu objektif je ke? To identify the challenges teachers face during using online learning. Satu challenges saja. Cukupkah satu objektif ni? Bagi saya tak cukup. Tak cukup, banyak lah.
3 ke 4 saja kan, Prof? At least maksimum dia 3 ke 4 saja kan?
Yalah, at least 3 objektif lah. To study perspective of teachers toward online teaching. Ini perspective of teacher. Besar ni, perspective of teacher. Tiba-tiba you punya objektif only challenges saja. You tak ada cerita pun pasal advantage. Apa keseronokan dia? Maybe ada. Dia ada keseronokan teacher mengajar online. Dia tak payah pergi jumpa mana-mana. Dia pergi buat kat rumah je. Ada advantages of online punya teaching ni. You tak mention dalam kajian you ni. You cerita challenges. What about the good thing? What about the advantages? What about the good points of teaching online? And also, at the end of your research, apa guides? Guides. What are the guides for teachers? For other teachers who want to teach online based on the experience of these teachers. Pun tak ada you minta kat sini. What are the things that they have learned in this teaching that they need to find solutions so that in their teaching later on, they can solve that problem. Faham tak? Because when we do qualitative ni, kita nak in-depth information about this so that the reader of our research punya output nanti, dia boleh belajar, dia boleh guna pakai apa kesilapan, apa kelemahan yang dihadapi oleh teachers ni, mengajar online ni, dan dalam dia punya tu nanti apa solution yang kita cadangkan untuk mengatasi challenges faced by these teachers. Tak ada. So you have to tambah objektif ni. Then bila saya dah tengok challenges ni tadi, balik kepada you punya statement of problem. Balik statement of problem. Mana challenges ni? Mana challenger? I always look for the
Tak ada
word
tester.
challenger. Ha? Tak ada.
Tak ada.
Bila saya mark ni, saya nak bagi makan ni, saya tengok cari word challenges ni. This is the first word I'm looking here. Tak ada pun. Kosong. So that means tu saya kosong. Tak ada kena-mengena. Ha. That means tu saya
Sepatutnya statement problem tu dengan objektif tu menjawab statement problem tu.
yes. Objektif you menjawab sebab yang statement perlu mengatakan masalah tu perlu dibuat research. Akhirnya bunyi macam tu lah. Then kita tengok objektif. Then objektif you kata. Berdasarkan statement of problem tadi, ni objektif yang perlu dibuat dalam research ni. Tak ada connection yang macam tu. Tak ada connection yang macam tu. Kalau you belajar sistem teori, ada belajar sistem teori tak? Dalam sistem teori ni, dalam sistem teori ni mengatakan bahawa sistem ni is made up of many, two or more component. Dua atau more components. Itu satu daripada karakteristik of sistem teori. Yang kedua, sistem teori mengatakan satu-satu komponen di dalam satu sistem tu dia mesti ada kait pengait. Dia tak boleh hidup secara sendiri, secara isolated. Komponen tu tak boleh isolated. Dia tak boleh isolated by itself. Tak boleh dalam sistem teori. Dia mesti ada kaitan dengan komponen yang lain. Now this one, you punya study ni tadi dengan yang pertama tadi sama juga. Dia dah define apa yang dikata dalam sistem teori ni. Ini komponen ni, SOP ni tak ada connection dengan objektif. Faham tak? Masalah besar tu dari segi sistem teori. Kalau nak tengok ni, mana dia tak ada coherency. Dia tak ada linearity. Jadi dia ada masalah besar ni. Okay?
Okay.
Dua masalah ke? Okay, saya ni actually I have to get off at 1 o'clock ni sebab student ada exam, undergraduate student.
Okay.
Tapi kalau kata you all maybe after 12 after 2 nanti kalau nak sambungkan dengan saya it's okay. Kita boleh sambung. Tapi sekarang ni okay ke? Ada masalah ke?
One more group, Prof. Our group, just for a while, just to check the.
Sekarang ni saya dah 12 masa. Can it be later? No? I do it separately lah. Maybe I will forward that one. Can we do it separately? Takut nanti
I don't know
undergraduate
the
student
rest.
dia ada
because-
exam.
Ya, Prof. Sebab saya pun nak bincang dengan saya punya proposal.
Boleh lah.
Proposal ya.
I think maybe by pukul berapa nanti? Pukul 2 ke? Between 2 and 3? Boleh tak?
Free okay lah.
Pukul 3. Takut saya pun nak pergi ni juga.
Ya.
Ada benda ni pukul 3. After 3 saya ada janji dengan family saya. In between 2 and 3 tu boleh?
Alright.
Boleh
Boleh.
Siapa-siapa nak masuk join sekali nanti boleh lah. Kita nak just find out. Tapi kumpulan 2 tadi dah faham dengan kumpulan 1 tadi. I rasa kumpulan 3 pun boleh agak apa you punya kelemahan kan?
Ya, faham. Thank you, Prof.
Okay.
Sama-sama.
Sama.
Lebih kurang sama.
Sama tu.
Statement objektif tidak menjawab kepada
Dia macam ni tau. Kalau saya put in practical example. You ada masalah di kampung you, community you lah. Misal kata ada harimau mengamuk. Ada harimau mengamuk di kampung you. Then you come up with an objective. Macam mana nak tangkap harimau ni? Kalau tak betul cara you tangkap ni, you punya objektif ni, bukan harimau you tangkap nanti. You tangkap, misal kata tikus you tangkap. Tak dapat tangkap harimau. Tangkap tikus. Ini yang masalah ni nanti because you know why? Ada masalah. You punya problem statement tak clear. Betul punya objektif ni menghala kepada benda lain. Tak ada coherency. Okay? Boleh contoh tu. Takkanlah nak buat contoh kan? Nak tangkap harimau tapi tangkap kucing macam kata. Takkanlah nak buat contoh, betul tak?
Ya.
Okay.
Okay.
Okey lah, kita nanti jumpa lagi lah tengah hari pukul 2 nanti.
Okay, boleh.
Alright, so thank you.
Link yang sama ke Prof? Link yang sama?
Uh,
Link yang sama ke?
boleh lah, boleh guna. Kalau tak dapat nanti kita boleh link baru pun tak kisah. Alright.
Okay.
Okay, saya stopkan recording ni lah. So thank
Okay,
you.
baik.
And then
Thank you, Prof.
mana tak okay nanti kita
Okay,
jumpa
thank
lagi.
you, Prof.
Alright.
Alright.
Assalamualaikum and just have a happy weekend. Thank you.
Thank you.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.